Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. Tonight, we will be giving you the coverage of the WSSR VRS Cup Series S11 playoff racing. Tonight, we set the stage. After tonight's race is over, we set the stage on who will be the final four drivers to hunt for the Season 11 championship. We started the playoffs off with 16 drivers making it into the playoffs, and we've dwindled it down to just 8. Like I said, tonight we'll be down to 4. One driver has already locked themselves into that championship round. That was John Forbes Jr. after winning last week at Kentucky. Tonight, will we see someone else solidify with a win, or will it all be based off of points? We'll find out here very shortly, as we are excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me this evening is Richard Wolsifer. Running the broadcast production in the background is Robert Moyer Jr. As drivers are currently underway with qualifying, they're starting to get their first laps placed in. Richard, excited to be back for more racing action on Wednesday night. We get to see these next-gen vehicles test their skills on a track that in real life no longer exists, but on the virtual world is one of the best tracks to be racing this next-gen car on.
Sam, it is great to be back here in the booth with you on Wednesday night to see these guys tackle, again, probably one of the fan favorites throughout the iRacing service here at Auto Club. With this track being demolished over in California in real life, it's sad to see, but at least we can still relive some amazing racing here on this fantastic track. And yeah, it seems like these 2-mile tracks, you know, this is similar to Michigan, that these next-gen cars, this is the kind of track they really thrive on. And I think one of the biggest things that we found out last night also with these cars at another race is like dirty air is actually really big at this track with these cars with this most recent aero update that they did. So that's going to be something we're going to have to watch out for and see how these guys can tackle it and trying to make passes throughout the race.
How do you maximize your speed on entry, off exit? As you're going to be focusing on your center turning, there's going to be a lot of talking points throughout the race, but currently underway with qualifying, it's Ryan Kelly in the 3 machine with the pole time currently with a 40.187 on the first lap. First lap for Colby DiCarlo coming up a little bit shy for the 22 as he'll come up with a 40.271 as Ryan Kelly, a minute and 20 seconds left in qualifying, holds the pole position, and it looks to be the first lap is your money lap. Gavin Rogers about to finish his first lap is the 75, quick enough for the pole time as he watched his 17 other drivers already complete their numbers. Rogers not close to the pole, but good enough for 10th to the top 10. It's 8th place for the 75 machine. Still a few more drivers waiting to put in their pole times, or hoping to grab the pole times, as Zach Hall in the 32 machine, one of the last few to attempt for a pole time for himself. And Richard's drivers know that have learned with this new update of recently over these last couple of months, the first lap is so critical now for qualifying.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to see how the first lap ends up being the fast lap for these guys. It's just like the tires just warm up extremely quick and they just lose the grip and the speed that they would typically have for a potential second lap. So yeah, a lot of these drivers out there throwing their fast lap down, trying to get that pole position on that first lap, and then, you know, if they don't get the speed they hoping for, they're going to try for a second lap, but it's very rare that they're going to get a faster one than their first.
And Zach Hall opting out. He'll throw it into the inside wall. No time for the 32. He will be joining John Forbes and Pete Tart, deciding not to get a time in. It's Ryan Kelly who will take your pole for this evening's race. Congratulations to the 3 machine. A lot of drivers have been searching for their pole times, and for Ryan Kelly, he is going to be going for another quick lap for himself, his first pole of the season, and what a time to grab it. Sadly, no longer in the playoffs as he was knocked out in the previous round of the playoffs, but drivers are now going to be having a 5-minute warm-up period to get any last bits of practice in, and as well lets us have a chance to take a closer look of the points and schedule. Now, iRacing had a major update yesterday, and that update might have broken a couple of our graphics. We're hoping that this graphic works. We'll see if we can bring up our point standings entering tonight, and it looks like the point standings are good to be looked at here. We've got our top 8 only the top 4 make it in. And Richard, one driver's locked in. That's John Forbes Jr. Then we got Vincent Sora plus 18 at the cut line. Gavin Rogers plus 7. Shane Terrian plus 2. Outside looking in, Larry Yingling down 2. Brian P. Johnson down 8. And here's the 2 drivers that might be in a must-win scenario if they don't get good stage bonus points. Brian McCann negative down 18. And Cedric Hunter down 22 points to that cut line.
Those 2 drivers are definitely going to have a very long day ahead of them today. They will have to prioritize getting some stage points. And if they lose out on those stage points, it will potentially put them, and like you said, in that must-win scenario with not a lot of cars showing up tonight, just over 20 cars. So there's not a lot of points on the table for these guys to be able to make up that gap. So it's going to be a tough race for those 2 at the back there, trying to get up to that final 4. But you even got Shane Terry and Gavin Rogers. They are not far above that line as well, so they have to concentrate on finishing really well tonight as well.
Yeah, with the bottom 2 struggling, the driver who's second in points, Vincent Sora, a good stage day in those first 30 laps, could automatically lock him into the championship round, which would get 2 of the 4 Nightmare Fuel drivers into the final round. Now let's see if our schedule is working for us. As we take a look here, colors aren't there because that was broken, but at least we can see the rest of the schedule on polls and winners. And we look at the polls, it has been quite diverse on a lot of different drivers finding that quick pace for just 1 lap. The winning column, though, a lot of just first-time winners or just one-time winners this season. The only 2 to have multiple wins, John Forbes with 5 wins this season, Vincent Sora with 3, and then a large grouping that have just gotten 1 so far.
Yeah, it's been kind of all over the place with the wins this season. I mean, you have a couple of drivers there dominating, John Forbes being one of them with so many wins, and it's really showed. He's been able to secure himself into the final 4 also here in the playoffs. He's just always up there running up front, especially with those Nightmare Fuel teammates of his as well. So it's going to be a really exciting race to watch to see who else can put their name on that winner's board.
All right, now that we've gotten those graphics out of the way, let's see if this graphic still works for us. We have our pick'ems, drivers that we want to see that might have storylines connected to them, or it could be drivers that we feel like are going to get into victory lane to win. And I went with a storyline driver, but also has found victory here in the past. I'm going to go with the 28 of Brian P. Johnson. He's outside looking in, enters tonight 6th in points, just down by 8, but he's won here twice before, back in Season 3 and Season 8. He's going to be my driver to watch out for here this evening. Richard, who is your driver to watch out for here tonight?
He's won here before at Auto Club. I'm going to have to go with the 75 of Gavin Rogers. He is out here looking to try to get that championship that has eluded him each and every single one of the seasons he's raced here, and he's always right there at the end. I think he can get himself in today into victory lane, secure himself into that top 4 for the final 4 racing.
Honestly, if I was listening to my gut, I would have picked him as well. He won here back in last season, and he also led the most laps, 50 out of 120 laps. But our 3rd member of our crew, Robert Moyer Jr., he's going to go with a different driver, Thomas Green. Those Nightmare Fuel drivers have been strong, and Thomas Green is one of those that has been trying to find the luck recently. Got bounced out of the playoffs last round, but he's hoping to maybe go trophy hunting, and tonight could be the night as the 31 going to be starting a little bit deeper in the field, but I still like that pick. Watch out for Thomas Green. As our warm-up is slowly coming to an end, we also want to say thank you to our sponsors that have helped out all throughout Season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. First and foremost, title sponsor, VRS. If you've never heard of VRS, well, they are known as the Virtual Racing School. Their ultimate goal, help you to become the best driver you can in sim and beyond. Head on over to thevirtualracingschool.com today to see all the ways that they can help you as a driver. We also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators. Go update your rig to be racing like the pros. Head on over to gtrsimulators.com today. If you're looking for your highs, your lows, any moment to show off your glory, head on over to Trophy Smack, where you can find all their collections of championship trophies or low moments. Go to trophysmack.com and check out their website and all the greatness that they have. And finally, the trophy provider for Season 11 and also the trophy provider for the Crown Jewel race at Indianapolis, Sim Precision Prints. Go check out all the amazing from racing to also just one-of-a-kind pieces at simprecisionprints.shop. Thank you so much to the 4 amazing sponsors that we have here for Season 11. As the drivers are gritting up, that means it's time for tonight's show to begin. We've got ourselves over 24 drivers registering up for tonight's race, and taking his first pull of Season 11, it's the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly, going to be starting in first place. Colby DiCarlo, known for qualifying inside of the top 10, does it once again. He'll be starting in second place for the 22. Joshua Kanata, sneaky speed for the 16. He'll be starting in third. I mean, the underdog driver could be stealing it here late. That 16 could be a driver to watch out for. Vincent Soar going to be fourth fastest. He just needs a good point stay, and he'll move on to the championship round. The driver who's got the most championships in this series, Larry Yingling, will be starting in fifth. Sixth is going to be Jarrett Talmadge. Robert's pick, that's going to be Thomas Green starting in 7th, with Ali Fonseca in the 24 starting 8th. 9th, that's going to be Richard's pick, going to be starting in 9th place. And then in 10th, it's going to be my pick in the 28 machine of Brian P. Johnson.
Starting 11th is going to be Cedric Hunter, one of the bottom 2 drivers in the playoffs chase right now. He's going to have try to get up there into that top 10 to get some stage points. Shane Terrian going to be starting outside of him. Another driver near the bottom of the playoff standings, Brian McCann, starting behind Cedric Hunter in the 13th, with Douglas New being outside of him in the number 7, starting 14th. Starting 15th will be Kyle Rochelle, with Samuel S. Garcia rolling off 16th. Monati Major back in the 17th position, with GT Irizarry starting outside in the 18th position. And then rounding out row 10, you're going to have Ben Keeney and Justin Malarkey.
Last 4 drivers on the grid. The last driver to put down a time was the 25 of Cody Reed in 21st position, and then it was just based off your I rating on where you were placed after that. It was John Forbes Jr. going to be in 22nd position, with Pete Tart in 23rd, and Zach Hull going to be finishing out our 24 drivers that registered for tonight's race. Pete Tart, curious if he's going to be actually starting here tonight or in pit road for the 40 machine. But currently we've got 23 drivers gridded up and ready to take off and go. Tart, if he does decide to race, will have to start in pit road. But tonight we race at Auto Club for the second race and the final race, elimination round, you could say, of the round of 8. We've got our final 8 drivers. After tonight, only 4 move on, but tonight's race is going to be 120 laps. We have a stage break at the end of lap 30. We have ourselves no fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road, and fuel is going to range based off how drivers race in the draft, but the draft is going to be a king here this evening. Richard, what are some of the big factors drivers are going to be looking out for here tonight?
You know, one of the things that I had mentioned earlier is going to be that dirty air. They're going to have to search around this track to be able to save those tires and get that speed through the turns to be able to make that pass. Drafting, if you lose the draft, you're going to lose the field. So you got to be able to stay within that draft and keep up with the group. The track is so big. There's a lot of high-speed straights, and the turns are just as fast as well. So stay in the draft and try to make your moves and find that clean air to make those passes in the turns.
Track is quite warm this evening for the drivers. Track temp 116 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll see how that ebbs and flows throughout this evening's race. But the pace car is off. It's time for 120 laps to begin for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Who will be racing for a championship? Well, let's find out as Ryan Kelly as well as Colby DiCarlo send us down into turn number 1 side by side as they roar into this corner. And it's Ryan Kelly with the nose as we rip around, fanning out to 3 to 4 wide.
This is the exciting thing about here at Auto Club is lap 1 on the restarts. Cars fan out in this extremely wide track. 3 wide is not an odd sight to see for at least the first couple laps. And these cars will typically get in line, but they are still side by side 4 wide in turn 3 and 4 back here for the 10th position.
It's crazy to say 4 wide is a comfortable feeling. 5 wide is possible. 6 wide you don't want to go. But Colby DiCarlo doesn't want to wait any longer across the line. It wasn't our pole sitter leading that lap. It's the 22 that will lead the go. Vincent Sora, recognizing a good points day, will automatically lock you into the championship round. The 51 trying to stay in the middle, but you can see all the different runs in the center corner off. Just the changing of momentum and the changing of guard, but the wrecking behind, and it's playoff implication. Multiple playoff drivers involved in this one as the big one strikes. Multiple blown engines, and it's crazy to see, but lap 2 is the end for a few.
That is not what you want to see. 2 laps into the race, 2 of the bottom playoff drivers, Cedric Hunter, Brian McCann, involved in that wreck. They seem to just have some damage there that might be able to get fixed. No blown engine for them, so their day is still alive. But an unfortunate event coming out of turn 2 as you see all the cars spread out all over, top to bottom. And it was coming out of 2 here is where the issue was. The 41 machine gets a little loose, snaps to the outside, and nowhere to go for all the drivers behind.
That loose sensation going to be a tough one to deal with all night long. 2 drivers with required damage flags given out. Ben Keeney, GT Rosari, both looking to be done for this evening. Both had to toe to pit road. And just taking a ride, watching the chaos, how quickly everything just blew up in front of the field in the back half. Drivers were probably thinking, hey, we're just going to calm down and relax, but just a simple loose sensation makes everything go away. As Garcia gets into the 14, a few others making some late contact, and just an explosion of vehicles there, just in a quick snapping motion for the 41. As I'm curious if we can ride along and get a sense of what it was like. Just the handling. You can see Rochelle ducking it down low, trying to go for the big move. But Richard, these vehicles, they just snap and grip up so easily when you're trying to save them.
Yeah, it's coming off the turn here. You're getting back in the acceleration. It just kind of looks like he might have got into it just a little more than he should have. He had it under control just for a split second. It's we're getting blocked from view here from a lot of the infield stuff here, but this is the aftermath. And just Kyle Rochelle, he tried saving it. And the downside about these cars, it's gotten better since the updates, but when this car gets loose, when you try to save it, the car just likes to snap. And he saved it once, it got loose again, and then the second time it just snapped on him and he could not save it. And right up in front of Cedric Hunter and Brian McCann.
And just want to let everybody know, as you see this aerial view of everyone scattering across. Ben Keeney, GT Rosari down on the inside. That was the hard collision that ended both of their nights. But from 15th on back, drivers into pit road trying to get damage repair of some sort. That is a large grouping of drivers, but you saw there with the cameras. Usually we're okay with cameras, but with the new iRacing update that came out yesterday, it broke more than just our graphics. Some of the camera packages that we were given out have been completely changed around, and some of them work, some of them don't. So we're hoping that it doesn't swap to a broken camera, but we will try our best to change it when we see that it goes to the wrong one. But Richard, early going, this is something that we usually see, I should say, at Auto Club Michigan. An early caution, those early jitters, they just popped up there.
Yeah, it's just early jitters a little bit like you just said, but I mean, everyone's trying to get as many positions as they possibly can early, because once the tires start to fall off, passing gets even more and more complicated because of the dirty air. It just makes the car that much harder to handle when you get behind a lot of cars. So I think that's just a product of people trying to make moves early, try to get as far up as they can, and just a little bit too aggressive trying to get on the accelerator out of the turn.
Well, more drivers going to sit in pit road, and it is one of our playoff drivers, Brian McCann, enter tonight 7th in points, practically in a must-win scenario with the lack of drivers showing up here tonight. He needed a good stage day and also probably needed to finish inside of the top 10, if not top 5. And tonight is not the night for the 8 machine as he sits in pit road, going at least 1 lap down, could be going 2 laps down. Other drivers have already called it an evening just in a blink of an eye. 3 drivers are out. Kyle Rochelle, GT Rosari, Ben Keeney have called it an evening. And with Brian McCann in pit road, we only have 19 drivers out on track. Cedric Hunter, who was 8th in points, he's 22 points back. I mean, this tape basically puts Cedric Hunter in a must-win scenario with a wounded vehicle.
Yes, he's definitely in a must-win scenario as of now. With the cars dropping out, it's going to be really hard for him to be able to gain those points, even with other drivers if they wreck out. So he's got to just be patient now, hope for some other cautions, or even just get some more damage repaired before that stage break. But he's got to get as much damage as he can and get up to that front.
And with the timing of the yellow, Vincent Sora was leading. He will be your control vehicle here as we're about to take off. And he's been leading laps under this yellow flag, so that's 1 bonus point given to the 51 of Other ways you can get bonus points: leading the lap, leading the most laps, winning the race auto locks you in, and then the major points at the stage break. As the green flag is out in the air, we're back to racing action with just 19 drivers out on track. In a blink of an eye, we lose 4 out of them out there, but it's going to be Vincent Sora up front. Driver we're expecting to be in complete control up front. The question is, how well can he stop the drivers behind him that are hungry for a win? Some are looking for their first, some are looking for their second. And tonight could be a changing night for a few drivers that are hunting for a chance to be in the top 4 at the end of this race to hunt for the championship. Vincent Sora looking good. It's the battling going on for third on back where things are getting a little chaotic. And there's Thomas Green in the outside wall. Crossed into Brian P. Johnson, Ali Fonseca, and also going to see Monazzi Major involved in this one. Caution 2 is thrown, and more drivers continue to ensue into this one.
Man, a crazy, insane move there from Thomas Green. Got snapped loose, got up into the wall, and it looked like the car just wanted to dive back down into the traffic, and that's what brought out this incident here. We saw one driver in the playoff chase, Gavin Rogers, right behind there. He decided to take it through the grass. Oh, looks like he got a little bit into, or Ali Fonseca got into him, is how he got loose there. So unfortunate to see there. A few cars involved here, and it looks like some heavy hits for a couple of the cars as well.
Brian P. Johnson, that gray machine, caught up in the thick of it as he was squeezed and just nowhere to go. Like I said, Gavin Rogers also around the chaos, but it's around this pink freaky fast 31 machine, just putting all the pressure on, trying to accelerate out of the exit of the corner, and just a small tap there from Ali Fonseca really is what gets him out of control. And Shane Tarian also gained a little bit of a glimpse of it by the 9 machine. And once again, another cluster of drivers getting some heavy damage here tonight.
Yeah, and that's just a product of just hard racing. Ali Fonseca, I think, just a little too fast on the exit. The car just wants to push on the exit of these turns, especially turn 4. Coming out of this turn, you watch the racing line kind of drifts up towards the wall, and Ollie just not expecting that much room to not be there. Gets up into Thomas Green's left rear quarter panel, gets him a little loose up into the wall. And then Thomas Green gets back down in front of Monazzi Major, involving Ali Fonseca as well. So some great driving work from a lot of people. Looks like Gavin Rogers did get a little damage there, so fortunate to see for him as well.
I mean, looking at the list of drivers, there's now only 3 of the 8 drivers are left in the playoffs that have not been involved in a wreck here in just the first 8 laps of this race. That's John Forbes, Vincent Sora, and Larry Yingling. They're the only 3 of the championship 8 that are, the elite 8 that have not been a hit so far here tonight. Shocker to say, as there's more extra damage given to Gavin Rogers with Garcia sliding across his nose.
Yeah, Gavin tried to dodge that wreck by going through the grass, and ultimately, because of how much he slowed down, another car spun out on the outside, drove down in front of him. Gavin was not expecting it, so hopefully not too much major damage on that right front there, but he is in the pits trying to get that damage repaired, because again, with the high speeds of Auto Club, every bit of aero you need every bit of aero to make these cars go as fast as you can possibly get them.
I know he said early cautions aren't too crazy, but 2 big ones in the first 8 laps of this race is crazy to say. I mean, we started out with 23 drivers taking the green, and from 9th all the way down to 23rd, they've been involved in a wreck. I mean, this is crazy to say that only 8 drivers haven't got some type of extra damage. I mean, that's not even true. Some of the drivers that haven't come to pit road yet just felt like the damage wasn't too bad to come in. I mean, this is crazy to say that, over 15, 16 drivers have been caught up with damage.
Yeah, it is a lot of damaged cars already this early in the race. We're not even 10 laps into this race, Sam, and we've had 2 cautions already. A lot of cars with some damage. But one person that probably is going to be benefiting from this a lot, Cedric Hunter. He's getting a lot of that damage from the first incident repaired, so that is going to help him in the long run in his chase to try to win this race.
And we're going to take a look at live points that we have. Now, once the stage happens, we're going to have to recalibrate some of the numbers for us. But here are the live points currently for these drivers, as John Forbes is your leader in points at this time. Now, he already is locked in and is good. But you look at the rest of the field, they currently are searching for a lot of extra space to work with. Shane Terry and a few others still trying to find their placing. I'm curious if we can bring up the live timing once again to take another look at it, because it's something that's interesting to see how the field continues to search for these points in every way possible.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to search. Every position is 1 point. So, like, you're looking right now, you have Shane Terry and Gavin Rogers. They are 1 point separating from each other. Brian P. Johnson, he's also right there and, trying to reach up and grab some points. So, it's the pace cars down off the track now. These guys are ready to go green flag racing and get as many points as they can.
Pace cars pulled off and green flag out in the air as we are back to green flag racing. Let's hope that we don't get a quick yellow as 9 laps in, make it now 10. And we've already had 2 massive wrecks up front. Vincent Sora, Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling, Colby DiCarlo, John Forbes. They hope to continue to drive their way forward as the rest of the field, they're hurting with pain, they're hurting with damage, but they're hoping the draft will keep them in the mix here as the field is scattering too wide and now single filing out. I think that damage might be a good thing for green flag racing, but obviously for drivers deeper in the field, this is going to be a tough run for themselves.
It is going to be really difficult for those guys that have damage to be able to catch back up. Their saving grace is going to be maybe staying in the draft, but even then, sometimes you can lose that draft or even just lose it ever so slightly, and that damage is going to drag you back like a parachute. So they've got to hope to stay in the draft, keep themselves up there with the group. The downside about that, though, is that dirty air is going to get those cars to push up the track, so they got to fight that as well. But, I mean, they're doing a good job so far. Guys, looks like they're starting to calm down a little bit. Not to low there, but gets blocked a little bit by the 27 as they fall single file.
John Forbes rocking a new colors and scheme with the American flag on the one machine, trying to show support with 9/11 being tomorrow. Day you'll never want to forget. And we always say thank you to our first responders as the one trying to continue to show that he is the strongest driver to watch out for heading into the championship round next week as we start the championship round at Richmond and then Homestead to finish out the season. But John Forbes trying to become the third driver to go back-to-back with their once they get a championship. I mean, a fourth driver, excuse me, as it was Larry Yingling who did it first back in season 2 and 3. Vincent Sora did it in 4 and 5. Then we saw Benjamin Nelson do it in season 7 and 8. Will we see John Forbes here for season 10 and 11 go back-to-back with the WSSR Championship? We'll have to wait and see if he can do that for now. But currently, Larry Yingling leading the charge. He needs those bonus points for himself. Entered tonight, down 2 to Shane Terrian, who's back in 9th place. And that damage for Terrian is not enabling him to go forward.
It's really rough for him to be able to make, like, I think the hardest part with the damage is that you can stick with the cars in the draft, but whenever you go to make a pass, that aero damage is going to drag that car back. So he's got to be really smart with how he makes these passes. And the downside about that is it's basically throwing the car into the turn as he drifts up a little bit high there, gets into the body armor car, who's also getting back up into the wall in front of Zach Hall.
That's going to be Justin Malarkey in the 73 with that small little tap, just going to be hurting Zach Hall the most as Hall now backs off. Luckily still has the draft of the 73, but obviously this is going horrendous for the drivers further on back. Just the exit of the corner, so tough. This rear end not happy when you hit the accelerator, and drivers drifting up. You got to be aware if there's a driver to you outside, don't clip them, otherwise you can get in some serious damage. I know for Shane Terrian, he did not want to lose any more ground to the lead pack ahead of him. That's why he had to make that quick move quickly and realize, hey, I've got the top 7 ahead of me. If I lose the draft in any fashion, I won't have a chance to keep up with them to the stage.
Yeah, and it's Shane Terrian. He's got to worry about staying in that draft, and right now he's just going to hold on and wait for that stage break to pop up, because it's going to be able to get him to get that more damage repaired, which will help him, making the passes getting out of the draft. So, but they are fanning out some huge moves from Colby DiCarlo, going to the inside of John Forbes, taking it 3 wide, but he clears him on the backstretch. That is not a move you see very often. No drafting help, clears 2 cars going into turn 3.
And it's all this side drafting, but he went with the dive bomb move down to the inside. Almost going to get loose right in front of Vincent Sora. He'll back off for now. Now it's going to be Jared Talmadge, John Forbes, the teammates, getting a drafting line. And Colby DiCarlo, all that work the past 3 drivers, well, you got by just 1 at the completion of that lap. as Talmadge, Sora, watch out. Here comes another big run, as the outside is where Colby DiCarlo's been just building up this massive momentum. And then he watches the drivers ahead of him go side by side. And the 22, instead of trying to go 3 wide, he'll push Sora forward and attempt to make the move here for 3 and 4.
Yeah, further back, you got Gavin Rogers, who is slightly involved in that last caution. He is starting to make moves as well, making that inside line work, trying to make the pass on Shane Terrian. He's going to be trying to follow John Forbes as well, one of the big competitors and the favorite to win this championship so far with as many wins as he's had this season. But Gavin Rogers not able to make that pass on Shane Terrian, going to fall back in line, take the outside line this time. But Shane Terrian, huge move to the inside, going to get around John Forbes, it looks like. But Gavin, massive run. He might give John a nice little shove here to keep him in front of Shane Terrian. No, Gavin to the inside, make 3 wide going into turn 3.
That's a similar move we saw Colby DiCarlo go for, but when you go to the inside, you're losing so much momentum that it actually can backfire on you, as you're seeing the 75 trying to keep the spacing, trying to hold the momentum. But Shane Terrian, bigger run off the exit of the corner, but the side draft's too strong. They will equal out, and that was a perfect run through 3 and 4 for Rogers to hold himself ahead of them, though. Drivers going side by side. It's Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly, Ying Yang Racing drivers trying to help one another. And for Ryan Kelly, he's just playing a little bit of gunner, trying to stop the assault from Nightmare Fuel of Jared Talmadge and Vincent Sora. It's a 2-on-2 battle, and currently it's Ying Yang Racing on top.
Racing controlling this race right now from the Nightmare Fuel, but Vincent Sora, huge move out of that inside lane to try to get around Ryan Kelly. They're going to be side by side out of the turn. Ryan Kelly should have the run plus the draft from his teammate. Vincent Sora all alone. He's got to fall back in line behind Ryan and hope for another run going into turn 1.
And now we get into that single file motion that you were talking about earlier, Richard. Just everyone recognizing you have to stay in line. Everyone's starting to move up higher and higher on the track to keep good momentum, to stay ahead of the driver behind them. And the high line is such a great defensive run to be in. But it takes about 20-30 laps before the inside row really finds its own strength later on. And Vincent Sora just continuing to go for slide job move after slide job move. Finally, it's clear of Kelly, but how much of the momentum was lost with that move as Ryan Kelly gets right to the back bumper? Ying Yang Racing, are they going to work together? No, Kelly has to make the move all on his lonesome.
Kelly shoots way low in the try over there to get around Vincent Sora. Vincent Sora even tried to run him down low to get the side draft, but Kelly, a huge dive into turn 1, has the speed in the entrance, won't have the momentum on the exit, but he will be able to slide up, slot right in place into P2 again, right behind his teammate. Now he's going to try to play blocker for Larry Yingling.
And as we continue to watch this great battle going back and forth, officially out of this race and his championship hopes are snuffed out as well. Brian McCann is out of the server. What a season it's been for the 8 machine that I felt like was starting to really learn this car. It was starting to get faster and faster. I think could have been a threat for the championship run, but just it never lined up for the 8 machine. As a great season comes to a conclusion, that is 1 driver out. Now we've got 6 out on track, aiming for just 3 spots that are left to be grabbed.
3 spots left to be grabbed since John Forbes won last season, but the caution is out.
Caution is out, and it's the 24 of Ollie Fonseca all on his own as he spun around. And the timing of this caution makes things a little bit more dramatic, because of the fact that we've got ourselves 10 laps to go in the stage. Now it's a question of who pits for tires and who stays out for track position.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting strategy call to see what these drivers decide to do. Because I feel if the drivers in front decide to come in, the drivers in the back are going to stay out and use that dirty air to block them. But if the guys in the front stay out, the guys in the back, they're going to come in and take fresh tires. So I feel there's going to be a split strategy call here on what these drivers decide to do. Whether it's fresh tires or track position is going to be more key. But Ollie Fonseca just kind of coming out of turn 4, just losing it on himself, and the caution comes out. So no major harm, no major foul.
No, none at all. But that will be a tricky spot for drivers to look back on, of how this one cell spin off in no man's land may have changed up how the end of this stage is going to run. Again, Brian McCann officially out of the running to try to make it into the final 4 and race for a championship. those last couple of drivers that are hunting for big points. Vincent Sora, he led a lap. That's one extra bonus point for himself. Gavin Rogers still open for a bonus point to be grabbed. Shantarian's trying to recover. I think the big driver of note, Cedric Hunter, currently runs 10th. He's in an odd spot. He was been pitting and trying to get get damage repair. Now's the time to get tires. And honestly, who's going to take the big gamble of maybe 2 tires if you do pit?
Yeah, 2 tires I think here really does work really well for the short run. So Larry Yingling, our leader, coming in, leading the pack full of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus cars, coming in to get some service done. But this really helps out Cedric Hunter, who might still have some damage to repair because he did get some pretty heavy damage in that first caution. So this is a breath of fresh air for Cedric if all damage isn't repaired yet. So actually, Cedric Hunter is still out on track. I misspoke on that one.
Yeah, he stays out. It's going to be up to 8th place now for himself. All other drivers that stayed out, it's going to be Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora, Jared Talmadge, Joshua Kanata, Gavin Rogers, John Forbes, Shane Tarian, Cedric Hunter, Douglas Newbigging, as well as Zach Hall and Samuel S. Garcia. Larry Yingling giving up the lead position to fall to 12th place, taking 4 tires and fuel. And I would say if we were in a different track, maybe an old Atlanta, maybe a different car, I would say, you know, new tires, we're about to see Larry Yingling just fly through this field. It feels like an absolute unknown if we're going to see the older tires with them cooling off, if they can defend, or if we're going to see Yingling just go to the top and get, or to the bottom, either spot works, and just drive by the field.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see which strategy is going to play out here. With a little bit of experience, you know, at this track with this current update, I mean, the aero is so strong here with these turns. The cars just lose all front grip, especially out of turn 4. There's a bump coming out of turn 4. If you hit it at the wrong angle, it ships that car to the outside wall. So it's another thing these drivers have to worry about. But no, it's going to be interesting to see if the new tires or the track position is going to play out. And this could really change people's thoughts if there's a late race caution on what they want to do.
Drivers who stayed in with extra time to get damage repair, those being Justin Malarkey, Brian P. Johnson, Munatzi Major, Thomas Green, and Ali Fonseca, spending just a little bit more of extra time on damage repair. Brian P. Johnson, I mean, I feel bad. I picked him, thought he was going to do well. All of our drivers that we picked got some type of damage at some point during this race in the early going. This is crunch time. Drivers know this will be the final restart of the stage. Stage break officially at the end of lap 30, but if there's a caution before we get to the end of lap 30, that will count as a stage. Drivers inside of the top 10 get bonus points. The winner gets 10 bonus points, second gets 9, third gets 8, and it continues to dwindle down until 10th place. You just get 1 bonus point, which could be the crucial point of if you're in or out of the final 4. Drivers know this is going to be your go time. Top going to be 10 drivers did not pit. Everyone else, they got 4 tires and fuel. We'll see how well Larry Yingling and co can drive their way forward, or is it track position that truly reigns king here at Auto Club? Pace car about to pull off. It's about to be a 6-lap shootout to the end of the stage. Good luck to Ryan Kelly and all those that are looking for the big points as they're into the restart zone. It's the 3 of Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora, and the rest of the field revving up those engines and roaring down into turn number 1.
Down into turn number 1, Cedric Hunter's looking outside of John Forbes, which is going to take this 3 wide with Shane Tarian. But Shane Tarian gets a little tight there, almost into the John Forbes. That pushes front of Cedric Hunter, but Cedric Hunter is doing everything he can to try to get as many possible stage points as he can with the stage coming up near the end. Cedric Hunter and John Forbes now making a move on Gavin Rogers, who has no drafting help. So Gavin Rogers is going to lose a few positions here as well. But Joshua Kanata up here probably fighting with the Titans. A fantastic run from Kanata with his qualifying run this evening.
And track position currently is running king. Larry Yingling just finally starting to build some momentum to try to tackle and go forward. And as this run progresses on, those final 2 to 3 laps is when the 67 and the rest of the drivers behind, I think, are really going to start to ramp up. Unless Yingling's tires are too cold for him to even do anything right now. Almost snapping loose in the center of 1 and 2. getting stuck in the middle of the chaos. It's just a wall in front and a wall behind, nowhere really to go, as Ryan Kelly trying to win this stage. It's not going to help him because he's already out of the playoffs, but it certainly can help negate some drivers that are looking for some big bonus points for themselves, as Cedric Hunter, Gavin Rogers fighting side by side for 6th position. The top 5, they are in line and trying to pull away.
They're trying to pull away from this group that is fighting for every position they could possibly get. But Larry Yingling on the fresh tires is making his way back up through the field on the inside right now, trying to make that lane work on those fresh rubbers. But he can't have the momentum as that outside line does. He's going to get in front of Cedric Hunter. Hunter with the momentum, going to look low, going to get around him, and is going to clear him before going into the turn. But a great move as Shane Terrian shoots low to the inside as well.
All these points, all these positions, a quick caution as Terrian snaps loose. He has to back off, and he's going to be losing chances of more positions and goes from being inside of the top 10 in 8th place to now outside the top 10 and outside of those stage bonus points, as it's 3 laps to go here at the stage. Gotta get inside of the top 10. That is your ultimate goal for the 9 machine. You're looking outside as well. Brian P. Johnson, he is nowhere to be found. He's back in 17th place. Everyone else inside of the top 10 and looking for every point possible as the battle for the lead is on. It's Sora, it's Kelly. Vincent Sora winning the stage would absolutely lock himself into the championship round and just make it to where there's only 2 positions left to be grabbed.
Yeah, but Ryan Kelly is trying to stop that. He is working hard on that outside, trying to prevent Vincent Sora from winning this stage. But we've still got 2 laps to go, and they are fighting side by side as they get ready to dive into turn 1. But Ryan Kelly's going to follow him down the track a little bit, not let him get that speed in the entrance of the turn. They're going to have about the same momentum, going to try to side draft and pull him back. But John Forbes is looking in the background there to try to get his teammate forward, but he's getting drawn back as well.
I mean, at one moment before that pit stop, it was Ryan Kelly, it was Larry Yingling, 1-2 in complete control. Now the 3 completely swarmed and surrounded. It's nightmare fuel, trying to find a way to get by the 3 machine, and they all drop low. Kelly, no draft help to be assisted as Vincent Sora, Jarrett Talmadge, John Forbes, last lap of the stage, finally making a pass on the 3 machine as Sora drops down low. He'll try to slide up, kill the momentum of the 3 machine, but flying on the inside is Larry Yingling, the 67. He isn't giving up to 5th place as he tries to do a hard block on Joshua Kanata, but it's Sora. Kelly, hard slide job move to the inside, but it's just not close enough. They might kill their momentum, and watch out for the 67 on the outside.
67 on the outside coming out of the turn has massive momentum. Ryan Kelly snapped loose also. He might lose another position. Gavin Rogers, they come across the line, and there's the stage finish. And Vincent Sora, stage winner here at Auto Club.
Stage winner, and what a run, as everyone was fighting for every position they could grab. Whew, was that a good one to see as the field resets. They gather up, get ready for pit stops. I mean, Richard, that was exactly what we were hoping to see between old tires and new. It just took too long for Yingling's tires to be the advantage there late.
Yeah, I think the advantage for the newer tires is really going to play out with a 7 to 8 laps or more when they pit to get new tires. I think that's when the tires finally really came alive for Larry Yingling. He was getting a lot of speed, making a lot of moves. So it's going to take a little while for those new tires to kind of warm up and get the speed, but new tires can definitely help out if you're looking at a 10-lap sprint to the finish.
And here's going to be the breakdown of your top 10. It was Vincent Sora taking the stage win, Jarrett Talmadge second, Yingling third, fourth goes to John Forbes, fifth goes to Gavin Rogers, Ryan Kelly sixth, seventh was Josh Kanata, eighth Cedric Hunter, Zach Hall ninth, and Colby DiCarlo taking the final 10th place position. Shane Terrian outside of the top 10. No stage bonus points for the 9 machine. That is killer for the driver who entered tonight as our cutoff driver, and that almost absolutely pushes him outside of the top 4. As drivers getting ready for pit stops to be underway, I mean, this is when things get kind of interesting. We saw that the older tires weren't really on a crazy fall off. John Forbes, even on the old tires, was running some of the fastest laps of the race. Richard, if you already pitted just 7 laps ago, do you even attempt to take tires here, or are you just coming in with a splash and go?
I mean, Larry Yingling, he definitely burnt those tires up to try to get as far up as he can. This is exactly what we're seeing. He's coming in. He's going to get some fresh tires. You might as well. You got up there to 3rd place. Pit with these guys. You're going to come back out in the top 5 more than likely. So just come in, get the fresh tires, and be able to keep up with them when this stage regains the green flag racing.
As Vincent Sora is about to be entering into pit road. Once he's done with his pit stop, we'll see if we can talk to the 51 stage winner, as Cody Reed opting to stay out is the 25, which, I mean, is also a strategy call. Like we said, track position seems to be more important than fresh tires currently. And there's that splash and go for Larry Yingling. He went with it. A couple of other drivers, just a little bit of a splash and go for themselves. Colby DiCarlo will move up into 3rd. Ryan Kelly hoping to exit out here quickly, but it's Vincent Sora 4th. Jared Thomas 5th. 6th goes Gavin Rogers. John Force 7th. And seeing the field and where they're placed, I'm liking the call of the splash and go, and for Cody Reed taking the gamble of not even pitting for himself. We'll see how well that works out, as we'll try to have more of a discussion about that. First, let's see if we can talk to our stage winner of Vincent Sora, just get a feeling of how his race started out here tonight, as the 51 expected to start in 4th position. Vinny, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, stage winner seems to be a spot that we see you very often be. Race winner is what you're hoping for. How do you feel like you're going to be able to get through this field starting back in 4th place?
Yeah, I feel good. I think passes are kind of difficult, but I'm going to be on the freshest tires here of anybody. So, yeah, my car feels really good. I had that one big slide down into 1. I don't know if you guys caught it, but other than that, I feel really confident. You know, the stage win is big. I think that pretty much locks me into the Final 4, so that's pretty cool. I can just kind of ride around here and get some info and hopefully get another win.
Yeah, Vinny, that was fantastic work there. Did happen to catch your little loose moment there in the turn, and it was impressive work gathering that car back up and getting back up in front. But were you able to learn anything from Larry Yingling there in that last bit of run on whether fresh tires are going to be worth it if it's late race caution?
Yeah, I think late race, depending on how many laps you have on the tires and how many laps we're going to have left, tires will definitely be pretty huge. The fall off is pretty severe. You know, the right rear goes pretty quick, and that stability would be really good if we had a good little stint to the finish. So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping things play green and we don't have to worry about that, but I guess we'll find out.
Well, Vinny, once again, congratulations on winning this stage, and based off our calculations, you should be locked in to the Final 4. Congratulations on that, and good luck on this restart.
Thanks, guys.
As that will be Nightmare Fuel driver number 51 of Vincent Sora, restarting up in 4th position with Colby DiCarlo to his inside in row number 2. Up front, Cody Reed did not pit for fuel. He did take tires 11 laps ago, same on tire length as Colby DiCarlo and Larry Yingling. Let's see how the rest of the field can react here on this restart. Does Vincent Sora climb to the lead immediately, or does everyone else have a fighting chance? And with no more stage bonus points to be grabbed, it's about getting the best finish you can for the rest of the championship drivers. 2 spots are on the line. Who can take them? As green flag is out, Cody Reed to the inside, Larry Yingling on the outside. A little bit of side drafting going on as we roar into turn number 1. Richard, they're already 3 wide battling for 3rd.
3 wide battling for 3rd going into turn 1. This is the beauty of Auto Club, is the big fan out and massive wide racing here. Colby DiCarlo cuts Vincent Sora up there a little tight into the wall, but they stay off each other. Some great work by there, but Vincent Sora able to clear it and get out of that 3 wide racing. Gavin Rogers follows suit and clears from the 3 wide as well, but John there on the inside trying to make a route also on Colby as he drives up and cuts him off coming out of turn 4, but Colby DiCarlo up into the wall.
Colby DiCarlo trying to keep it off the wall as much as he can, but it's so hard to do when these vehicles are just pushing tight off the exit of the corner. It's either loose or it's tight. There's not a good safe window where you feel comfortable on this race course off the exit of the corner, and that's what's allowing these really big runs, or drivers that are having to get off the throttle off the exit of the corner, or if they're getting loose, they have to get off the throttle off the exit. It's when you really hit the corner perfectly that you're just seeing these massive, huge runs on the front stretch and back stretch, where drivers are able to accelerate to go for passes on multiple different drivers. But Vincent Sora from 4th back to 5th, and now you might be seeing name of a new driver leading this race as the battle for the lead. It's Larry Yingling and Jarrett Talmadge in the 27 attempting to go for the lead.
Talmadge looking to the inside of Larry Yingling, had a fantastic run down the front stretch there as he's going to go low, try to get that speed on the entrance of the corner, and he's going to drift that car up out of the turn to try to block that momentum from Larry Yingling. It does not look like he's able to clear him. Larry Yingling still fighting hard on the outside to try to keep this lead and keep that clean air on that nose.
As the field continues to go side by side, Jared Talmadge, slide job move on the 67, a little bit of wiggle by Talmadge, also by Yingling. When he crossed over is Cody Reed, slamming the outside wall, forcing drivers to go low. And just the slight wiggles, but it's that dirty air factor that really loosened up the 67, and I think also hurt Cody Reed. Just the crossing of aero streams that are just killing the momentum for some of these drivers off the exit.
It's really wild because even the car just barely slides up in front of you. Like I said, it's exactly what you expect from these cars. It takes the air completely off the nose of the car, and the car just doesn't want to turn. It wants to push really hard, and that's what you're seeing a lot of these guys get up into the wall out of the turns. Is you get someone right in front of you, it pushes the car up to the wall, you get into the wall, and you lose a ton of your momentum, as we saw what happened to Cody Reed. But we got another battle for the lead. Gavin Rogers looking to the outside of Larry Yingling is going to lead that lap. Gavin Rogers finally to the top of the board, but has still got to fight to try to make this pass complete.
A big bonus point for the 75, who also got some decent bonus points at the stage. Coming away, finishing 5th, so that's 6 bonus points that Gavin Rogers grabbed at the stage. He's going to hope to try to carry on those points moving forward, as trying to cut off the snaking factor. Someone decided to follow him. No one did. They all just stayed in line on the outside, and it's going to give a chance for the one machine. John Force now going for a big move. Colby DiCarlo right on the back bumper, and seeing some of these drivers, the ways that they're trying to kind of bump draft into each corner, it's kind of forcing them to be very close throughout the whole entire corner, and I'm getting nervous of what we like to call aero griefing. Drivers have to be careful. If you get too close to someone's rear end, you could be forcing the driver in front of you to get too loose and could spin out in front of you.
Yeah, that's like we said, the aero griefing has been really a very interesting thing that has came about in these recent updates. Is you can completely take the air off the rear end of one of the cars in front of you, or the car right in front of you, and it just gets them really loose. I think the biggest thing about here, though, is because of how flat these turns are, as Gavin taps the wall a little bit there out of 4, is this car just wants to snap when you try to correct it here at Auto Club. A lot of the bigger tracks with, a lot of the tracks with the higher banking, it's a little easier to kind of control, but here the car's just going to snap on you, and I think that's one thing they got to worry about, because if you try to air someone, the odds of them snapping up into your path is pretty high.
The field races on 2-3 wide all around for 41 laps completed of 120 here tonight. Still plenty of great racing action for the field, as this is so much fun. This is the joy of Auto Club, just getting to see all of the different lanes that can be utilized and how drivers try to carry their momentum, and seeing the gutsy moves that some drivers are willing to make. I mean, they're right there for a second. Larry Yingling thought about squeezing it 3 wide, had to back out off the exit of the corner, but you're mentally not thinking about going for that pass right when you get to the exit. I mean, you're thinking about, hey, I might go for this move maybe in the center of the corner, maybe even on entry of the corner. I mean, Richard, there's times where you're trying to think 4 steps ahead when you're exiting these corners, knowing how big of a run you might have.
Yeah, that's the thing about when you're passing on a bigger track like this, is you do have to plan that pass ahead of time. Like, you have to have the right distance, the right momentum. You got to decide, is it worth throwing into the turn? Because, the drivers, like you just saw Vincent Sora there, he threw it into the turn, tried to get that entryway or the entry speed as high as he could so he can then slide up in front of Larry. The downside about doing that is it's going to burn up those tires really quick. So they have to balance when to make a move, when to drive that car as they can, because if they do, they have to make sure they make that pass, or they're just using resources that are just getting wasted.
Joshua Canada, one of his better qualifying runs of the season for the 16, qualified third here tonight. Seeing the Trevor Project trying to make a pass on Brian P. Johnson's back for 8th place. Johnson looking at his point situation, practically in a must-win scenario with some of the bonus points that were grabbed by the drivers around him. The 28, he's in a tough spot. The 16, just trying to do what he normally does. That's wait, settle for the end of this race, and that's when he'll pounce for some big bonus points. I mean, big passes in and runs for a good finish. As Johnson practically ripping the wall for the 28 there, trying to get to the outside of Cody Reed.
Yeah, fantastic work for Brian P. Johnson there, ripping that outside lane right up against the wall. That's kind of one of the best lanes you can have in turn 1 and 2. Not so much 3 and 4. Typically 3 and 4, you want to do a late apex to get a lot more speed, is what I have found. But he's doing a great job running right outside against the outside wall, getting that momentum down the straightaway, because you can carry so much more speed when you run that outside lane.
One of the drivers we were just looking at, Joshua Canada, big slide off the exit of turn number 4 to the he was the inside of Johnson there. Just got a little loose off the exit of the corner. Went from battling for 8th, now down to 16. As Cody Reed brushes the wall for a quick moment, everyone searching for where the momentum is at. And I think it's the fun thing about watching a series that maybe with this new update, going to a track that you haven't gone to, you haven't really gotten a taste of how this new aero package and car reacts to this course, is the learning process. We saw during practice a lot of drivers trying to perfect the inside lane, how they were going to save tires. And already in the first 46 laps of this race, we've seen the evolution of everyone's migrated primarily to the outside, almost to the wall, with just a few drivers dabbling to that white line, trying to just test out a different lane.
You know, that's one thing that's made this track so good with these next-gen cars and NASCAR is, like, there's so many lanes that these guys can take that actually work, and for different reasons they work. So you have the extra momentum on the outside line. You're going to use a little bit more tire to do so, but you got that inside line. You get that extra speed going into the turn to try to make that pass for the exit. So seeing each and every single one of these cars throughout the entire field use different lines in the middle of the turns is just, it's a fantastic thing to see. It's why this is such a fan favorite track to go to.
As Colby DiCarlo rushing the wall, trying to stay off of it the best that he can. This has been some fun racing action to be seen. You can see behind the 22, everyone's starting to lose the draft, fading away. And for us, this might be one of our few times that we could possibly drift away for a quick second. We have some technical stuff that we need to check out here. So on our end, we are going to take a quick commercial break. We are going to go full screen commercial on this one to make sure that we can get all of our behind the scenes stuff figured out. We want to say so much thank you to everyone that's been patient with us this evening, as this has been a pleasure to give you the call of the WSSR VRS Cup Series, the last race of the round of 8. We will be back for the conclusion of Auto Club right after this. and trouble strikes Auto Club as caution is out. And we got some playoff implications involved in this one. First, we're going to see these drivers exiting out of pit road as the whole field will enter in to get service done for themselves. 4 tires in fuel. And this is going to put the field in a spot where this is expected to be a one-stop from here to the end for everybody as the field exits out. 2 tires, 4 tires. Majority of the field going to go with 4 tires and fuel. Jared Talmadge, John Forbes, Gavin Rogers, Brian P. Johnson, and Vincent Soar going to be your top 5. Johnson was moving there coming to the end of that run right before the caution flag came out, which we're going to take a look at what put us in this caution flag and what has ended Shane Terrian's championship run. He entered tonight being 4th in points. And it all came around, starting with Zach Hall exiting out of 4, breaking loose right in front of the field. And Shane Terrian, Cody Reed taking the worst of it. And as well, Ryan Kelly going for a chance to win here tonight. He had some quick pace, but his night looks to be over as well as there's the looseness. Then the overcorrection, snap into Terrian, hard contact, then Kelly into the outside wall. And that is how Shane Terrian's season concludes here tonight. He was given the report, too much damage, I'm done.
It's so frustrating to see for Shane Terrian. I mean, he had nowhere to go. I mean, just Zach Hall just doing everything he can to try to save that car. And like we were talking, you try to save it, and the car just wants to snap. Gets a little loose coming out of 4. It's that bump I was talking about earlier. And then just to the outside, right into the left front of Shane Terrian, who then goes right into Cody Reed up into the wall. You hate to see someone's season end like that, but oh, Shane Terrian, a phenomenal run all season, and is going to fall short just shy of the Final 4.
Zach Hall still sits in pit road. Ryan Kelly as well. Ali Fonseca has called it a night, and we are dwindling and losing drivers and points and positions to be grabbed. As we were under that commercial break, we were trying to fix our live counting of the live points and where drivers are running. Here are where the live points line up with the way that last caution just went down and where drivers run currently. John Forbes is already locked in. That's why his points are just shattered up above everyone else. He won, so we just set it up to where he's an absolute lock-in. With the points after the stage, Vincent Sora was practically locked in. Now it's the run for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which you look at the live points. I mean, Gavin Rogers, he's got 94 points, 93 points for Larry Yingling. Behind them is Brian P. Johnson at 79 points back, 74 with Shane Terrian, Cedric Hunter. I mean, this practically puts everyone that's outside looking in, being Johnson and Hunter, they're in a must-win scenario. As the pace car pulls off, it's all about the ending of this race. We are expecting to be a one-stop from here to the end. We'll see what Jared Thomas, John Forrest, Gavin Rogers, Brian P. Johnson have for us. Johnson, like I said, was starting to look quick right before that yellow flag came out as Jared Talmadge, big blink out for the 27, but watch out for that 28. I gotta say, Richard, Johnson, I think he really wants to get this win. He wants a chance to go for his 2nd career championship.
Yeah, Brian P. Johnson is doing everything he can, try to drive this car as conservative as he can, believe it or not. He's trying to save the tires, get that long run pace in, because that is what's going to make the difference on whether he can get up there and run for the lead and take the win away from these drivers who have been fighting for that lead all race. And he's, like I said, he's in a must-win situation, and depending on where Larry Yingling and Gavin Rogers finish, these two, one of them could be knocked out with a surprise win from Brian P. Johnson, or even Cedric Hunter, who is still back there trying to hunt this down and get his way up front as well.
Those are the only two that can really stir up the pot, being Cedric Hunter and Brian P. Johnson, and Johnson to the outside, trying to figure out a way to get by Gavin Rogers. In the 75, inside groove has been tough. No draft help. Gavin will fall into 4th. Johnson up another position. That heavy damage now kind of puts Johnson in a weird spot. And, you know, the drivers that we picked 3 different drivers for themselves. I went with Brian P. Johnson. Richard went with Gavin Rogers. Robert went with Thomas Green. And the reason I picked Brian P. Johnson, he's a 2-time winner here. He won back in season 3 and in season 8. He's won in multiple different vehicles, and when it's clutch time, when you need to clutch up at the end, this 28 knows how to get it done at the very end of these runs, especially when there's motivation involved. And Johnson's watching the battle for the lead, but also thinking, where do I need to place myself to potentially be that lead driver?
Yeah, my pick, Gavin Rogers. He has been trying to chase a win. It has been a winless season for him this season so far. He's had speed. He's always been up there ready to pounce. It's just luck always not falling in his way. And he's looking to try to top off his season as well with at least a win. And with last time winner here at this track, Gavin's up here still in striking distance for that. And again, he is so close at points with Larry Yingling, with the looming danger of Brian P. Johnson now going for the lead here. With Brian P. Johnson winning, if Gavin does not have enough points, he could be knocked out by 1 point potentially from Larry Yingling being in front of him in points. So Gavin also a little stressful for him tonight, as he's got to worry about that as well.
As John Forbes, last season's champion, trying to prove that he is the favorite for this go around. A little bit of a wiggle there for the 1, the 28, trying to keep it side by side as they come across the line. It's last season's champion and the inaugural champion. 1-2 as Johnson trying to find a way to get by. Rogers lingers back and forth. But we look outside of our top 4. You've got Vincent Sora, Larry Yingling. I mean, these two drivers, the favorites of every season from season 2 to probably season 10. It has always been, would it be Vincent Sora or would it be Larry Yingling? Who was going to take that championship that year? And for recently, it's been a lot of Vincent Sora just not finding the runs to line up to take the championship. But man, is he quick on these future races in front of us. Due to the fact that him locking up into the championship 4, Vincent Sora is my #1 driver to take the championship in this upcoming 2 races. He's got Richmond, he's got Homestead. Those are his statistics. Best tracks that he's ran in this series in any league. As Cedric Hunter goes around, big slide for himself. He'll lock it down. We stay green. He still is trying to save it. And the worst case scenario for the 13, we stay green as his tires are worn out. It's the battle up front that they continue to have.
Disaster strikes for Cedric Hunter. That could be the end his chance to win this race. He's got those tires heated up now. They're going to be worn out. He's got damage on the right front of his nose, and he is out of the draft. So he has got to hope for a caution to come soon so he can get some damage repaired. But up here, Brian P. Johnson looking low on John Ford. He's got a little bit of a run here, but no drafting help. They're going to drag race down the back stretch as Brian P. Johnson going to try to throw this car, and he's going to block the run to the inside from Forbes. He's going to try to stay in the middle and get a run from there on a little bit shorter path around the turn.
Trying their best and Forbes into the outside wall. That's going to kill his momentum. Jared Thomas trying to not give too much of assistance to the 28, but across the line, it was too close to call as those two drivers were racing it on. It was John Forbes by 2 1,000ths of a second that led that lap. So Brian P. Johnson still waiting to lead a lap this race, but that 28 doing everything in his power practically to force the 1 into the outside wall and just to throw his race away as Johnson just doing everything he can to stay in second, but the power of Gavin Rogers is too strong as he's ripping the top now.
Gavin on the outside had a great run. He is now side by side with Brian P. Johnson. John Forbes now has the clean air, has the full width of the track to use as he threw his car low to kind of block any path, but he's got a run from Gavin Rogers. He's going to challenge for the lead from John Forbes. Gavin to the inside of John Forbes Jr. Gavin's looking to retake the lead from the #1 machine.
Inside has been trying everything, but Forbes on the outside groove, able to keep his nose to the quarter panel. Rogers not attempting to try to defend that outside groove, and it gives a chance for Johnson, but Johnson not able to close on the gap. Instead, a big push and a lunge. And speaking about lunge, there's the 51. Vincent Sora forcing it 3 wide for 3rd place.
Vincent Sora to the inside. He's going to have a great run. They all get really close. A very tight exit out of turn 4. Vincent Sora still trying his best. He's the one with the draft, trying to side draft the 27 of Talmadge, who is also racing Brian P. Johnson. Is there still 3 wide going into turn 1? Sora and Johnson not giving up, and Talmadge still trying to challenge as Gavin's starting to get a run on Forbes again as well.
And these drivers got to be careful. We're 11 laps into this run, and we're starting to get to that weird phase where if drivers are not careful, your car's been feeling too comfortable, it can randomly snap at you if you get on the accelerator just a second too early. You run over the bumps just slightly wrong, that rear end could be kicking out, and with us being 2-3 wide, a simple mistake could cause another big one as Rogers gets the help from Johnson to the outside. Forbes blocking high-low, but Richard, that small mistake is looming in everyone's mind of hoping that this isn't the lap that I just randomly snap, as now Talmadge ships into the inside groove. We're 3 wide for the lead position off of turn 2.
3 wide out of 2. Talmadge does not have any kind of momentum being on that inside. Gavin able to slot right back into second place, going to get a push from Brian P. Johnson, but he's not going to make a major move. Forbes doing everything he can to aero block the best he can in front of those cars behind him. But Vincent Sora, a huge lunge, passes 2 cars up to the 3rd position side by side with Gavin Rogers.
Trying to get the hell from Talmadge. Big push, forcing it forward. Now going to be 3 on 4. Has 3 drivers on the inside, 4 on the outside. Who's got the better draft assistance? Gavin Rogers shipping it to the inside. Not able to fully clear, but Vincent Sora, who's been running the bottom, protecting his tires, finds the opening to slot into 3rd place as everyone else trying to find their opening to slot to the outside. It's Gavin Rogers who's stuck to the inside groove as we head into turn number 3. Sora stays in the middle. Same for Forbes. Everyone's searching for the clean air to allow their front bumper to move forward, and it's Vincent Sora with all the momentum in the middle as Forbes sets the back out of it because of the wall.
Forbes has to back out a little bit, gets into the tad with Sora side by side. Gavin Rogers now following behind. Brian P. Johnson looking again, trying to follow through and get up to that lead position. Again, in a must-win scenario for Brian P. Johnson. And he is showing why he can have that potential to win this race and get himself stamped into the Final 4. But Gavin Rogers still right there in the 4th position, has a run from Talmadge from behind him. He's going to try to get some momentum to get back up to these guys. He gets a little loose going into 4. But Sora, a huge leap to the inside, is going to try to make the pass on Forbes as they're side-by-side out of 4 again.
Side by side, and John Forbes trying to keep this lead position. The reason why the lead position is so important, you don't need the pole, but you need to lead the most laps. Half of the drivers that have won here at Auto Club in the whole entire history of the WSSR VRS Cup Series have led the most laps and got into victory lane. The other drivers, they had the 2nd most laps led. Leading here tonight is important as they're being embedded into one another. It's Talmadge and Johnson. They keep it pointed straight, but Johnson just getting his cage rattled as now he falls into 4th, almost back to 5th, and Talmadge stays low. They're still going to be stuck side by side. The 28 and 27 have to get clear, and they finally do as Talmadge drifts back. Vincent Sora still presses on for the lead.
A scary moment for 2 playoff drivers almost as Talmadge came up into Brian P. Johnson. I don't think he realized that he was 3 wide with Gavin Rogers on the far outside, and Brian P. Johnson was not going to let him bully him up the track. And they both kept it straight. The racing is clean, but they're now still side-by-side racing for the front here. But John Forbes still maintains that lead as Vincent Sora falls back just ever so slightly.
And it really was their top 7 that just gapped themselves away from the field. But with all the chaos of drivers getting into one another, the amount of side drafting that's been happening that's slowing each other down, it's brought in this pack. From 7, now make it 11. This front field is starting to get a little more chaotic. It's going to be Vincent Sora, a little bit of trouble off the exit of turn 4, backs him up into Gavin Rogers, and just nowhere to go, and it shuffles up the field, and it's Larry Yingling. It took him all the way finally to be able to challenge up inside of our top 3.
Larry Yingling back up to the top 3. He's going to be challenging, also trying to win this race. And yeah, that back group, they have caught up to this front 7. I mean, whether it be them side drafting, driving side by side, racing side by side, and passes almost every single lap. But they're also using way too many tire resources. Those back guys might have a little bit tire left than these guys up front. But now Gavin Rogers on the outside looking to pass Vincent Sora. He needs to try to get back up because Brian P. Johnson is looming right there in 2nd place behind John Forbes to get this one.
One name we never really say on the long run of watch out. It's the driver in 7th place, Colby DiCarlo. He has been settling on the outside, just running lap after lap, watching the competition go for big slide job moves, just not working. He is settled in behind Larry Yingling, and whoever is in front of him, just ripping the top, being patient, and waiting for mistakes to pounce forward. This 22 might not be showing signs of going for a big push, but it's like raise the wall might get him a little slightly concerned. But Colby DiCarlo could be a sneaky driver to watch out for as this run progresses on. Before we get to this final pit stop, he could be a driver that could sneak his way forward, watching the competition fade away.
Even Samuel S. Garcia there in the number 50 machine, who's racing right beside Colby DiCarlo. He is up here trying to get up and make some passes as well. Another driver just out here trying to chase a win, trying to get a trophy, get his name in the winner's bracket as well. He's trying to be a sneaky winner, walk-off as well.
And behind them, you've got Douglas Newbigging, a past winner here. He won back in season 7. That was a race that went green. Only one caution that race, and it was at the stage break. And before that, it was just 35 laps led for Douglas Newbigging that day. The 7 could be a driver to sneak through forward. The 16 of Joshua Kanata, he's got one of the fastest laps put down here tonight. He's ripping the top and is a part of this lead pack. And then the one driver who's been caught up in a couple of incidences, but still is latching on in 11th place, Justin Malarkey, lingering, waiting, and this top 11 are the only drivers that are still left without damage that can still race on. But Malarkey is here, just waiting for drivers to make mistakes ahead of him.
Yeah, Malarkey kind of rounding out the front group here, just waiting for someone to make the mistake so he can move his way up. But he was caught up in a little bit, going to look low here on Joshua Kanata, going to try to make a move, side draft a little bit. He's going to aim low, make this pass work for him, get around the 16, but the 16 fighting hard on that outside. He's not going to give that position up easily.
No, and if you're Joshua Kanata, you cannot afford to just give up this spot. You need to press forward and make sure that you are not going to be that last car in line just in case you start to lose the draft. Don't want to be there. Top 11 drivers all on top of one another, all within a second and a half of each other. And it's the teammates that have been going back and forth all throughout this run. John Force, Vincent Sora, they continue to press on. The one thing I'm getting concerned about, we've now been 22 laps into this run, and the tightness, it's crazy to say, this track is so massive. We've seen 4 wide happen at times, but it feels like the exit of the corner is just getting more and more narrow each lap that passes off the exit of these corners. Richard, I'm getting quite nervous. If we stay out there for another 5, 8 more laps without a caution, it might be because someone gets into one another off the exit of this corner.
Yeah, it very well could. It seems like you were saying that the exit of these corners are getting ever so tighter and tighter. That's why we're seeing these guys, get ever so close as Vincent Sora.
Sora into the outside wall. John continues forward, and just like that, the teammates collide, and Vincent Sora's chance to win is done. The front end's broke. He's got to just limp it to pit road now.
That is not what you want to see. Vincent Sora and John Forbes teammates get into each other. Vincent Sora gets the bad end of the deal on that one. Major wheel damage for him, as we saw his wheel was pointed hard left, going straight down the straightaway. So he's going to have a lot of damage to repair there. Unfortunate to see for Vincent Sora, but he should be locked in with that stage win, so he could potentially be safe for the Final Four.
He should be safe, but this does give another opening for Brian P. Johnson, who runs in second, challenging for the lead. The 28, we talked about how strong he was in the leader run right before that last caution we had just 20 laps ago. The 28 is surging forward, and after the contact between the teammates, this gives a chance for Johnson, for Rogers, for Talmadge. There's now new life breathing into these drivers that have a chance to go for this victory.
It's one less driver you have to race with up front, one less driver you have to pass, and that's something that these guys who are trying to get around this wall of Nightmare Fuel, that's what they love to see. One Nightmare Fuel guy up front, they can't really control every single lane in the turn, and Brian P. Johnson trying to make that inside lane work, but Gavin Rogers getting the shove from Talmadge is going to try to give Forbes a push as well, but Forbes still fighting hard on that outside. That contact with his teammate is not affecting his race.
It's so odd to see these drivers on how they're going back and forth, changing up their positioning. But the two drivers that are moving forward now up to 5th and 6th position, Douglas Newbigging, Colby DiCarlo, they're starting to move forward, and looking at lap times, they're very similar to our leaders. They are creeping their way forward as this 22-7 machine. They're swapping back and forth on that positioning between themselves, but this is looking interesting for drivers that have not been favorites to win in every single race that we go to. There's a chance now, this wild card type of an evening where we've seen so many just wild wrecks have taken out high chances of potential drivers. Now we've got a chance for Douglas Newbigging, a track that has been a struggle for most, a tactic of looseness where we've seen Douglas Newbigging struggle to self-sabotage. He's starting to emerge forward now in 5th place, trying to close in for this lead position.
We have got a change for the lead. Gavin Rogers gets a little loose. Almost had the pass on complete, but got loose, was able to keep that car under control, though. He's going to lose a few positions. He's got to work his way back up now and get around these two guys he originally passed.
And pit stops underway. Exiting out of pit road, Joshua Canada, Samuel S. Garcia. They will be one of the first drivers to make their pit stop. Talking about spinning out, trying not to self-sabotage. It's Douglas Newbigging, now up to 5th place, was aiming for 4th. He'll fall back, but drivers taking the early stop. Canada as well as Garcia, they pitted together. That is perfect to see. You want to pit with the group so you don't lose the draft when you're going to make these pit stops, as everyone needs to make a final stop before the race is over. And the question is, when do you want to make this potential final stop of the day? Because fuel numbers, I believe, is around 35 to 40 laps of fuel you have. Question is, when do you want to make that final stop?
Yeah, they're definitely in that lap, in that fuel window to be able to stop and be good for the rest of the race. But who's going to bite first in this top group of racers, this top 7 cars, top 6 cars? Who's going to be the first one to dive in? Or are they all going to dive in at the same time? So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out for these pit stops. But right now they are still fighting for every position they can. Gavin's still trying to look and move forward around Jarrett Talmadge. He's looking at every lane possible, trying to figure out where he can get the momentum to get a pass. But Douglas Newbigging had a small little blink issue there, but he's back. But he's also looking to move forward as he has now made his way into the 5, looking to get around at Gavin Rogers.
As we are left with just 13 drivers out on track, 14, excuse me, that are out on track, as we've lost Vincent Sori. He's called it an evening. Zach Hall in pit road getting his damage repair. He might be calling it a night. Ryan Kelly has had terminal damage since his incident with Shane Tarian and co. We now look to the rest of the field. When do you want to make this stop? Canada, Garcia, they've made their stop. They were on the tail end of this lead pack when they pitted. And I'm looking at the timing right now. They're running about 1.5 seconds, almost about 0.8 faster than the lead pack that last time by. This could be a perfect move for the 16 and the 15 to jump ahead. But those tire difference, if they don't see this lead pack pit in the next 2 to 3 laps, I think their strategy could be thrown out the window.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which drivers decide to take 2 tires or 4 tires on these pit stops as well. I think these guys in the front, they might be trying to run as long as they possibly can, take the 2-tire stop just so they can reduce the time on pit road by a couple of seconds, and that should be able to keep them in front of the other cars that were behind them. We'll have to see what happens, because 2 tires could be the call and could be the biggest strategy call to win this race.
How do you want to make yourself going forward? Just 1 lap after running about 0.8 faster than the lead pack. That last go around now just 0.2 quicker was Canada and Garcia. So it's going to be a quick, just first lap, quick lap. Then it's where is your pacing for the long run that we'll keep our eyes out on for, as you're looking at this lead group. 7 drivers all in line, all different mentalities. John Forbes just trying to go basically trophy hunting, as he already locked into the final 4 after last week's race. He's trying to have as many bonus points as possible to head into that championship round. Jarrett Talmadge He's just trying to go for a big points day as he was knocked out of the playoffs last round. Brian P. Johnson, a win would place him for a chance to race for the championship, as he is in a must-win scenario after all the points and where drivers run currently. Colby Carlo, Douglas Newbigging, they're going trophy hunting, and Larry Yingling, who just is lingering at the tail end of this lead pack. His goal, just to outpoint his competition to make it to the championship round. But the 67 did prove that he does have winning pace. The question is, does he have winning passing moves? That's the goal that he's got to find.
Yeah, he's definitely got to find some kind of moves to get back to the front here. For the points-wise, he should be able to point himself in very easily, because the only drivers track that could pass him up would be Cedric Hunter and Brian P. Johnson, but they're both in a must-win scenario based on points. So if one of those two win, Brian P. Johnson with the best chance, then he has to worry about Gavin Rogers. That's the only other person he'd have to worry about getting points over. And that's something Gavin's got to worry about as well because of how close those points are. But Colby DiCarlo, he's going to spin around.
Oh, caution now, out right in front of the drivers. And for Kanata, Monazzi made for Kanata, as well as Garcia, as well as Justin Malarkey. All were caught one lap down. They'll have to take the wave around. I believe Lucky Dog will go to Justin Malarkey, but you look at the going out of that 22. I think his night could be done after that incident for himself.
Yeah, unfortunate. Just loose out of 4, the same spot we've seen so many cars get loose out of. Colby DiCarlo just flips it all around coming out of the exit. But right here, we was watching him coming out of 2, gets a huge run down the backstretch, tries to make a move on Brian P. Johnson, has some momentum. Looks like he's going to stay on the lower side of the track within those first 2 grooves there, down to the white line. Great move, but just tried to get into the gas a little too early, got onto that bump also down there, and just could not get that car to go back straight. Flipped it around, kept it out of other cars, so, good work for him, but backed that car back up into the wall. Unfortunate to see for Colby DiCarlo for such an amazing race he's been having.
Yeah, and re-looking at the damage in the way that it is, I don't think it's going to be as crazy as I initially thought it was going to be for the damage for Colby, but we'll wait and see how long he sits in pit road as he hit the rear end pretty square. It just was a violent twist after the contact into the wall, as there's the snap, the slide, the spin, and then right there, that hardened contact just ricocheting the 22 back across the field. Luckily, no one else involved, but this does put the field in a spot where there's no longer going to be thoughts of green flag pit stops. But it does put, Samuel Garcia, Joshua Kanata in a tough position, because now they got to go for the wave around, which they're going to be able to get back onto the lead lap, but they're going to be on 8-lap older tires compared to those that just came into pit road and got service done. The field continues to dwindle down and shrink. This was not what I assumed Auto Club was going to be like, even though if we look at the stats, this is a track that has brought out a lot of cautions in the past. If you look at the 6 races that have been ran here, over 4 of them have been 6 or more cautions. Season 3, we had 6 cautions. Season 1, we had 7. And the last 2 times we've been here, we've had 8 cautions. And I'm curious, we forgot to test this one, but do we have our race report? That's going to be one that we want to check out for later on. But here, let's see what happened to Cedric Hunter, as popped up there's an issue for the 13. So we're going to see what happened here, if he got loose, napped around. Curious what happened. And he snapped completely, overcorrected, and meatball flag for Cedric Hunter. His day is over. So that means there is one spot that could be stolen by Brian P. Johnson, and it's either could bounce out Gavin Rogers or Larry Yingling. Those are the 3 that are hunting for the final 2 spots. Here's our race report. That is not right. So we did find a graphic that didn't work here tonight, Richard. So iRacing did break one thing, and it was our race report.
Yeah, the race report, a little broken there, but I definitely have had more than 2 cautions tonight. I believe we'd have 4 for incident. So, the big one coming in lap 2, and then we had another one just before lap 10 as well. So, but it's been a very long night, and the field has definitely thinned out. But that little incident that Cedric Hunter had there, he's going to be done for the evening, I think. But Brian P. Johnson has a bigger chance now to win this race. And Larry Yingling, Gavin Rogers, they are also racing each other for points to try and stay in front of one or the other, just in case Brian P. Johnson pulls off the win tonight.
As drivers are stacked up, waiting for all those that took the wave around to catch back up and those that are getting damage repair to get back out on track. We are left with just 13 drivers out on track, only 12 on the lead lap. And 2 of the 12 drivers are on the lead lap are on old tires, being Joshua Kanata and Samuel S. Garcia. We'll see how well they can keep up with the lead group, as we only got 6 drivers stacked side by side, everyone else in line. Cody Reed missing out on the judgment where he needs to get placed. Nope, he swaps, gets right into the spot. As we are back to green flag racing, as Jarrett Talmadge, Douglas Newbigging, and John Forbes going to be your top 3 as we rip it down into turn number 1. The field shrinks, but the action still so meaningful. Gavin Rogers, Brian P. Johnson, Larry Yingling, those 3 drivers fighting for 2 spots. Who will be hunting for the championship, because a win allows Johnson in. But if he doesn't, it's Gavin Rogers and Larry Yingling joining the ranks of Nightmare Fuel drivers of John Forbes and Vincent Sora. A lot of pressure on the line, but fresh rubber gives us a chance to go 4 wide.
4 through 2 and 3 wide again here at Auto Club. It's very normal sight to see. Won't see a lot of it though, because the field is so thin, but these cars are all over the place on the front stretch as we complete the first green lap on this restart. But John Forbes still fighting hard with his teammate Jarrett Talmadge right in front of him. They're going to get a little slip there on the outside lane. But Douglas Newbigging is now up here. He's trying to play spoiler as well.
Douglas Newbigging flirting with disaster, running down on that white line. We've seen so many drivers get loose down there, especially off the exit of 3 and 4. As John Forbes now going to test his talents down on that white line. Not as low as what the 7 was going for. And there it is. He gets loose. Douglas Newbigging, big slide, lost some momentum. And he'll drop from battling in 3rd all the way back to 7th position. Make it now 8th for the 7 machine as John Forbes Jr. puts the fastest lap of the day down.
John Forbes Jr. putting the heaters down, but yeah, Douglas Newbigging, we've seen it. Everyone trying to get that inside line working, and I think it's just the cold tires is what really doesn't make that inside line work as well, especially on the exit. I think he was too low on the exit where he got that, where he snapped loose from, but Gavin Rogers, we're going to ride along with him as he's going to go just a little low, not quite all the way down to that white line, right there on the white line, as he's trying to get the momentum to get around Larry.
You know, you always gotta love when drivers say the opposite of what we're thinking. Is Larry Yingling, Brian P. Johnson, daring move by the 67 as he does not want to be just settling behind. Goes to the outside groove. Johnson, Rogers, hard driving in the entry of the corner. Talmadge blocking off the wall, and everyone searching for the high line to utilize the momentum. Squeezing 3 wide. Yingling, Talmadge, Johnson, and Gavin Rogers trying to help one. Colby DiCarlo back in the mix on the outside, and Yingling just waiting and wanting a teammate to help them, but none of them are left out on track. The 67, the 28, using each other through the exit of turn 3.
Larry Yingling, Brian P. Johnson are definitely fighting tooth and nail for this position because Brian P. Johnson knows he needs to win. Larry Yingling knows that if he gets the win, he's got to fight for points with Gavin. So they're both trying not to let that happen so they both can move on. But Brian P. Johnson, a huge run on that inside. He's going to be able to clear Larry Yingling. And, oh, man, fantastic bit of racing, but Colby DiCarlo, little loose out of 2, but he's able to correct it and get that thing back straight. Oh, almost a terrifying moment for a couple of playoff drivers around the 22.
Getting loose, getting out of trouble, almost using Yingling up just to get pointed straight was the 22 as we get back off the exit of turn number 4. Again, those drivers on the inside getting so worried every single lap of who might accelerate just a little bit too soon and lose the rear end. Up front, though, Nightmare Fuel 1-2. John Forbes, Jarrett Talmadge, there is zero fear at this moment. You might see a couple of drivers attempt to go to the inside, but if you're on the outside groove, you're in complete control, and Talmadge recognizes that. He'll let the 28 go for these big passes, then utilize the draft of Forbes ahead of him, and there's just nothing Johnson can do about this as they're still battling 2-3 wide back for 4th.
And Gavin having some scary moments there. Colby DiCarlo seems to be overdriving the car just a little bit, keeps getting loose on those turns, and Gavin was right behind him when it happened. Ooh, Gavin up into the wall a little bit there. He's going to tag it, but Colby DiCarlo still holding strong, got some momentum. He's going to stay behind Gavin after Gavin throws a small little block, but scary moment almost for those two drivers, but able to keep it straight, keep it clean, and Gavin trying to charge back up to the front.
About to finish 100 laps being completed, and then we'll be left with just 20 laps to go. 20 laps to figure out who will be a part of the 4 drivers hunting for a championship here for season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. I want to say thank you so much to everyone that's joined with us here this evening. Thank you to the sponsors, VRS, GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, and Sim Precision Prints for being a part of an incredible season. It's now time for crunch time. No more green flag pit stops expected. It's all about making it to the end of this race. A win for Johnson, and he's in the final 4. No win for Johnson, and it's Gavin Rogers and Yingling joining John Forbes and Vincent Sora. Sora might be out of this, but if we look at the live points, I mean, this is incredible to see the hard racing, but it's really just Johnson. He needs the win badly.
And if Johnson gets the win, look at the points between Larry Yingling and Gavin. It is a 2-point difference how they run currently. That's just 2 cars, 2 positions between both of them. Gavin has got to stay 2+ cars ahead of Larry Yingling if he wants to advance, but Larry trying to make that pass to get around the 73 machine. It is going to be a close call when it comes to points if Brian B. Johnson can get this win tonight.
You see the live points changing up. All that Gavin Rogers has to do is finish ahead of Yingling, and he's into the final 4. If he finishes 1 position behind Yingling, he is that cutoff driver. So for Rogers, he might not be getting that word, but if someone's able to give him the word, I think you're ultimately telling that 75, yes, you want the win, but that 67 is your ultimate driver. You must stay ahead.
Yeah, he's definitely, someone has got to tell him that he just has to stay in front of the 67, regardless if the 28 wins or not. So this is where having teammates or even a crew chief can definitely help out, or a spotter, to let you know, to kind of keep your nerves calmed down a little bit right now. Because Gavin, he just knows he has to get as many points as he possibly can and try to win this race if at all possible. But if he can just drive safe, keep himself out of trouble, stay in front of Larry Yingling, that he will advance into that final 4, which is his ultimate goal.
And looking at the drivers in the field, where they're trying to place themselves at this current moment. I mean, looking at the live points, you got to really, your heart out aches for Shane Terrian, where if he was still able to race and he was inside of the top 5, he could have been one of those drivers fighting to point his way in. Not the case, as he is officially out of this thing. Same for Cedric Hunter, who's out, and Brian McKenna was out so early in tonight's evening's Auto Club race. It's now just 3 drivers, 2 spots, as they continue to race on with 17 laps to go. The big question is now looming to who can get by John Forbes, because Richard, watching these runs, it's almost looking impossible to really get by the leader. You're just kind of, you get up to second and then you stall out. There's really nowhere you can go, because John Forbes is getting draft help from Talmadge, or you're getting 0 help from your competition that doesn't want to help Johnson get into the lead spot.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. John Forbes doing a great job controlling the lanes of the track. What's going on is Brian B. Johnson will try to throw the car down low to get that intro speed, but John Forbes is just going to follow him down the track and cut off that air, or even the run off the turn from him. So it's a real struggle when you're in second place. You've got to set this turn up. You got to set that pass up ahead of time. You got to kind of play with the head of that leader and maybe be able to make that move. But it has been a struggle trying to get it up into the lead from second place.
And drivers of note to watch out for here in the late surge. Larry Yingling has been very strong in the late going. Same has been for Johnson. Yingling now going to bounce to the outside, trying to get by Gavin Rogers, setting up Rogers to be forced to the inside groove. Colby DiCarlo needs to get a good exit out of this corner to help out Yingling, who's going to be charging his way forward. Again, for Gavin Rogers, his goal, he must stay ahead of Larry Yingling. If the 75 is just 1 position behind Yingling, he is that cutoff driver, and if Johnson wins, whoever the cutoff driver is would be knocked out of the final 4 between Larry Yingling and Gavin Rogers. The pressure is on those 2 as this run progresses on. 15, now let's make it 14 laps to go here tonight as we cross the line. John Forbes, he's aiming for win number 6 of the season. That is 6 wins out of 16 races, and it has been a crazy number to look at. Not even thinking about the account of nightmare fuel for themselves. I mean, Nightmare Fuel as a team has won, I feel like, half the races this season, and they're trying to continue on with that dominance. But Brian P. Johnson, the inaugural champion of the series, trying to prove that he's got one more championship in him, one more daring move to set up for greatness. As the 28 dives down low, there's just not enough space, not enough momentum, and the 1 defends for another round attempt.
Another defense for the number 1 of John Forbes. Brian P. Johnson doing everything he can, throwing everything but the kitchen sink at John, trying to get around him, but he's got a huge dive into turn 1. Can he get that car up the track in time? No, John Forbes drives that car right in the middle of, is going to have the momentum off the exit and still maintain the lead, but Brian P. Johnson is doing everything he possibly can to get around John Forbes. He's going to be at the quarter panel. He's going to throw it low. He might be able to get him, but John Forbes, again, drives that car really hard through the middle of the to keep them side by side. And being on the outside, he's going to have that run, as we see, and able to stay in front of Brian P. Johnson. This is why it's so difficult to pass here at Auto Club.
The tough feeling for Gavin Rogers is, who do you even want to assist at this point? Because John Forbes is getting the better run. So utilizing the 1 is carrying you forward. And then behind you is, what is Yingling going to do? Does Talmadge have a second breath of fresh air for him to go attack? Have a chance? I mean, our top 3 almost thinking about going 3 wide there on the backstretch. Instead, Rogers going to be giving the bump to Johnson. Johnson's going to be getting a huge surge down into turn number 1. This is another great chance for the slide job move, but Forbes defends. He blocks. Rogers setting up for the exit of turn number 4. Does he push the 28? Stay with the 1? Hard decision to make, and it looks like it's stick with the 1. Trying to get to the outside quarter panel of Johnson.
Gavin Rogers stayed on the outside, let those 2 run to the inside. He has the momentum down the front stretch, but he can't quite get to them in time. He gave a nice shove to John Forbes into the turn there, but it looks like Brian P. Johnson might be able to clear him as they turn on each other's noise.
Forbes, caution is out. Johnson gets put in straight, but Forbes takes the damage. Johnson is well collected, and this race isn't over just yet with 11 laps to go.
Brian P. Johnson tried to make that move, was not quite clear on the exit. Forbes' nose was there, and he spins across the nose, bringing out yet another caution for tonight. It was a huge move for Brian P. Johnson to make, and he just could not clear himself on the exit.
Here's another look at it. The 1, the 28, all of the pressure coming up to 10 laps to go, and each lap more and more difficult on what pass you can make in. Honestly, maybe if Rogers didn't give the bump to the 1, Johnson could have been there, but the bump kept Forbes there just close enough, and it was not clear. Hard contact, and honestly, props to Colby DiCarlo. He could have absolutely ended the night of the 28, but keeps that nose away from the rear end of the 28 machine.
Also, great heads-up driving from Gavin Rogers. He saw what was going on in front of him, was able to back off just in time to miss that wreck, because he was right there as well, very close to these guys. As we see John Forbes here on the outside, Brian P. Johnson just keeps moving up just ever so slightly. It's a game of inches when it comes to making passes.
And if you're John Forbes, I mean, you've got yourselves a little bit of a game of chess to play. I mean, that move, it was, do you keep Johnson? Do you want Johnson in your final 4? Do you want Rogers in your final 4? Do you want Larry Yingling? I mean, which one of those 3 do you want to bounce out? You had the power to let Johnson in. It looks like he didn't want to do that, and Rogers stays out. He wants the track position, not the tires, and into pit road goes everyone else. It is 1 versus all, and Rogers might have just thrown himself into a losing battle.
Oh, Gavin Rogers, the only car on track, staying out on those tires. This is going to be a hard decision. I will say the benefit of this is he saw what the new tires did. It took them 7 to 8 laps to finally build up that momentum. But with every car with new tires, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this was a misjudgment by Gavin. I think he was expecting people to psych him out when he goes in the pits and fake him out and go back out on track. So it's a hard decision when you're the leader in this situation.
And John Forbes taking the gamble, the first driver of the night to take 2 tires for the one machine. Is that going to get him too loose? Is he going to feel comfortable with 2 tires? He's going to be our first gamble to attempt it here with less than 10 laps to go to make sure he keeps his track position ahead. Larry England going to be in 3rd, Jared Talmadge 4th, Colby DiCarlo going to be 5th, with Justin Malarkey 6th. 7th is Joshua Kanata, with Douglas Newbegin in 8th, Garcia in 9th. And those are the drivers that were able to come in, do a quick 4 tires and fuel and move on. I mean, you look at the 28 of Brian P. Johnson. He still sits in pit road. There was a lot of damage collected on that 28, and that looks to be sealed and set. We've got our final 4 for this championship run, unless a miracle happens and Johnson's able to take off and stay on the lead lap, and the damage wasn't as bad as we first initially thought, but it looks to be over for Brian P. Johnson unless the whole entire field just implodes here on this restart.
Yeah, Brian P. Johnson's championship run could end right here. He is still in. Nope, he's finally out of his pit box. We'll see if he gets out in front of the field. It looks like he will be able to, but he has got to have some luck on his side. This front part of the field has got to implode for him to be able to get through and get to the win, because I don't think it's going to happen. And I think with Brian P. Johnson having to get that damage repaired, being this far back in the field now, and Gavin not coming in and getting tires, I think this might be the saving grace for Gavin Rogers also, because I think he's just going to get past like he's standing still after a couple of laps.
Takes a while for those new tires to have the advantage. It's going to take a bit, but we've got ourselves 9 drivers that look to be in a vehicle that has a chance to fight for the win. But it looks to be really, if you're inside of the top 4, that's your positioning to have a chance to win here tonight. Gavin Rogers, John Forbes, Jared Talmadge, Larry Yingling. With Johnson being so wounded, it kind of puts in a spot where you can get a little bit more aggressive if you feel like this win is your chance to solidify yourself for this season. For Gavin Rogers, a win would feel so sweet to enter into the championship round and know, hey, it is possible. I got that monkey off my back. But for John Forbes, he's trying to solidify himself. He won and swept the round of 8 before the championship round. He's got the most momentum. Or can someone else try to steal their way forward? It's time to find out. It's going to be 7 laps to go here at Auto Club to finish out the round of 8. Who's making it to the final 4? Let's find out. Green flag out of the air for our front group as drivers that have missed out on being with the lead pack. We'll see how well Thomas Green can catch up to the group. But Brian P. Johnson, he already looks under pace back in 12th place, but he's going to try to stay attached to the draft just in case some chaos happens up front. But Gavin Rogers, huge lead ahead of Forbes and Jared Talmadge.
Yeah, great launch for Gavin Rogers on the front row as he was the control car. But John Forbes, a huge look to the inside here. He's going to try to carry that speed through the turn. With Gavin Rogers on older tires, Gavin going to try to break that draft. But we got a spin on the first stretch.
Going around, and that's going to be seen. Justin Malarkey, Colby DiCarlo, they're down in the grass. No yellow has been thrown. Colby DiCarlo staying all the way to the inside grass. That will not bring out a caution at all. We continue to stay green with 6 laps to go. And now it's our top 7 attached by the draft. Everyone else trying to close in quickly, but it's really our top 4 that are the closest on top of one another.
Gavin Rogers doing everything he can to take the lanes away from John Forbes. The downside, he's got Jared Talmadge now on the outside, who is going to have a huge run off the turn, but he's not close enough to really make anything happen. Gavin's going to drive John Forbes down the track and take that lane away from him. Gavin's doing a fantastic job controlling the air. That's what he has to do to be able to stay in front of these guys, control the air. But John Forbes is going to have that grip on the outside and will have this run. He should be able to clear Gavin out or down this front backstretch.
And also going to be having the assistance of a teammate pushing him along on the backstretch. John Forbes, Jared Talmadge attached to the hip, and they continue to move forward. Jared Talmadge, he might be the biggest wild card to try to help John Forbes go for his 6th win this season. Larry Yingling and Gavin Rogers battling between one another on who will be the cutoff driver. I know Johnson does not have the pace. He's 4 seconds back. He is not a factor unless there's another caution. That 28 needs more time to get repairs done, but up front, it's the one of John Forbes, and with Jared Talmadge behind him, it is 1-2 nightmare fuel. Who's going to work together to try to break them up? Or are you just going to be willing to settle for 3rd place? That's the mindset these drivers got to think about. Do you settle, or are you going to be a racer and go for the win?
Well, I mean, the good thing about Larry Yingling and Gavin Rogers, both pretty much locked in now. Brian P. Johnson does not really have a speed chance to lock himself in with a win. He's too far back and his pace is just too far off. But I mean, if you're going for a win, Gavin Rogers not won yet on this season. He really would like one, but on the older tires, it's just not going to happen. He might have to settle for this 4th place at the highest.
And with 3 laps to go, the question now is going to loom for Jared Talmadge as well as Larry Yingling. What is John Forbes' tires going to look like with 2 laps to go? He took just 2 tires. Is that the weapon that allows him to win here tonight, where his tires just help him get around the corner so much better? Or was it 4 freshies that in the final 2 laps, you've got the speed, you got the momentum, you could attack, but Jared Talmadge, going to be Larry Yingling and Gavin Rogers, they are just fighting each other. They're allowing the teammates to break away. 2 laps to go. You got to work together if you want to catch up to the 2 teammates up front.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. Gavin and Larry have got to work together. Larry is he's still got the draft, so he can still make a move, but I don't know if he's close enough. We still have a lap and a half as they come out of turn 2. Gavin has got to get up there, give Larry a nice little shove. But with the tire difference, I don't think Gavin will be able to carry the speed through the turns and catch back up. So now it's all up to Larry. Stay in that draft and try to keep that momentum and catch up to those front 2 runners.
You think back to Michigan, it was John Forbes, Shane Terrian. Terrian was leading. As we take the white flag, it was defend the inside. Terrian didn't do it back at Michigan. Will John Forbes defend the inside? Does Talmadge use everything to take this win? The 27 throwing it down to the inside, trying to close the gap. Forbes is going to have the nose. Does Talmadge rough up his teammate for the win? They're going to stay side by side. They're banging on the backstretch. Talmadge trying to stay close enough. Does Forbes defend the inside row? He goes a little bit high. Talmadge to the inside. Talmadge is running up. The 27's got to get closer, but Forbes is clear. Forbes is gone. Talmadge is spinning. He's out of this one, and John Forbes sweeps the round of 8. He's got the momentum into the championship round.
Fantastic win from John Forbes and complete dominance tonight here at Auto Club. He got up front and he controlled the airflow and was able to get it done and win the 2 races in the round of 8. So congratulations to John Forbes on 2 back-to-back wins with that fantastic momentum going into the Final 4.
The track position was key. Getting by everyone as fast as possible was maximized. And John Forbes does it again. The 6th time this season, we get to see the one machine get to burn it down as he is making his march to go back to back. And with where drivers lined up, we've also got our Final 4 that will be racing for the championship starting next week. They've got 2 races to settle the score on who will be the season 11 champion. The one has definitively shown himself to be the favorite, but who can try to dethrone John Forbes? We will find out when we come back. We have the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3 as well to a spotlight driver. We will be back after this for the post-race show, talking to John Forbes, Larry Yingling, Douglas Newbigging, and someone else. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to the Freaky Fast post-race show here for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Fantastic race here at Auto Club, and we have finalized our final four. We will be talking to our top three drivers and a spotlight driver tonight as well. But let's start with our winner, John Forbes. John Forbes coming in 2 races in a row, 6 races on the season. This has got to be some. This is Richard up at the booth. John, how you doing? How was that race tonight?
Oh, it was fun. I don't even know where to begin. All the little net codes and little taps of the teammates, it really screwed our night, unfortunately. But overall, just it's always fun racing at Auto Club. A lot of battling all night. I don't think I ever took a second to rest that entire race. There was just with the draft and everything, holding people right behind the leader, as well as like running first and second. Your car would handle a little bit worse than it would in third and fourth, in my opinion. So just trying to stay there all night was really a challenge. Yeah, just a lot of little mistakes tonight, little pit road slip ups and stuff. But in the end, we were able to just kind of find the momentum to get back to the front after each little mistakes and really just stay there the whole night. A lot of, like I said, just not even settling down, just trying to defend the whole night, picking the right lines and not overshooting your marks. Definitely a little bit of a technical track, a technical just abilities you had to have with the car. So overall, just super fun night.
Yeah, you did a great job. Once you were in the lead, it's pretty much like you were able to just keep it. It's like you understood how to utilize the air. I mean, is that something you really practice, or have you just really understood how this new update is done with the arrow affecting the other cars?
You really can just from experience. Like for instance, last week when I was stuck behind Vinny for so long, I just thought, okay, I'm not gonna be able to pass him without any sort of like on raw pace. So just from getting loose and tight and stuff, running behind other cars, you kind of figure out what it does, and you kind of can see what the leader's doing to make your car do that. So when you get into the lead position, you're in control of that. So you have to pick the right lines, kind of understand what the air is going to do to the car. Tonight was a little bit unpredictable. Like the time I had contact with Vinny, he got to my left rear and it made me super loose. But for whatever reason on the last lap when Jarrett got there, it made my car super tight. So definitely some things to kind of go look at and figure out why the car did what it did. But for the most part, exactly what you said. Like I just kind of haven't figured out how to manage the air. Depending on where I am, like earlier in the race, I would kind of throw it up high and try to cut down as the guy in front of me would slide up on the exit just to try to avoid that dirty air. So it works both ways. Some guys are really good at being able to avoid the dirty air and put their car where it needs to be. Other guys just try to kind of brave it out and they'll just throw it in right behind somebody. And that can even work to your advantage now too, with how the car in front can get very loose the closer the trailing car gets to the bumper of the leading car. So just, yeah, a lot to take in and factor in these cars that if we ever switch Gen 4, whatever it's going to be next season, it's going to change the game completely. So just trying to kind of master the craft here and going into these next couple races. I know the air isn't going to be as crazy at Richmond, but it's definitely going to be a factor at Homestead.
Yeah, and you able to sweep the wins here in the round of 8. 6 wins on the season, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, that's got to be some major momentum going into the final 4 and your chance at trying to defend your title from last season.
Yeah, it definitely a confident booster to have all these wins in the bank, but like real life, it's not a season-long point standing, so we're gonna have to go back it up, do the same thing next round, and have some very standout races to be able to get another championship in this league. Especially these guys like Vincent Sora is my toughest competition, and everybody else that's continuing on. It's just gonna be a fight both weeks, and some guys are gonna be better at Richmond, some guys will be better at Homestead. So the guy that's kind of the best at both is gonna be the one that gets this done. But yeah, definitely not the way I wanted to get it done tonight. I was having a ton of fun with Vinny. But you know, on the bright side, I sent him home a little bit early, so he's able to get to Bristol. We're going to be hanging out, all the Nightmare Fuel guys and stuff this weekend. So really looking forward to seeing them down there. But yeah, overall, just a fun night. Super happy to get a win at Auto Club again. Like I always say when I win here, it was my home track where they tore it down. So it's I've spent a lot of time here in real life, and it's super cool to get it done here tonight.
Well, fantastic work tonight, John. Another spectacular performance from you. The floor is now yours. Any shout outs you'd like to do?
Yeah, just all the guys in Nightmare Fuel. It was a lot of teamwork tonight. I gotta really thank all of them. It's unfortunate how the last laps played out and everything. Jared almost got the win there if the netcode didn't happen. But yeah, I just got to thank everybody. I know Tom had some issues early. It really was unfortunate, but just having Jarrett pushing and stuff all night, it was super grateful to have him pushing behind me. Same with Vinny, had a great battle, always super fun racing him. So just unfortunate how it all ended. But thank you guys for putting on these broadcasts. Can't wait to go back and watch the one from tonight. I think brother Justin grid this graphics for the great designs all season. So looking forward to what we can do in this last round.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure having you, John. And again, congratulations. Look forward to seeing what you can do in the final 2 races. You have a good evening, sir.
You as well. Thank you.
All right, that was John Forbes, your race winner for tonight. And we'll move on to our second place winner, Larry, another driver to lock himself into the final 4. Larry Yingling, it's Richard up in the booth. How do I got you?
Yes, sir.
All right, Larry, a fantastic run tonight. You were pretty much locked in. You had a little worry there if a driver did win this race with you and Gavin. Was that weighing on your mind a little bit with the moves you're making and trying to get around Gavin for any possible points to get?
Not exactly with Gavin. I think he was a few points ahead of me, and I know John already advanced. Vinny was way ahead, so there's no way. Maybe there's a big field, but really, I was just racing Brian Johnson. I know he came in behind me in points, and he definitely gave me some scares with how fast he was. But yeah, that last run before that caution, I was planning on just pitting whenever Brian did, just so at the very least, if his strategy, whatever strategy he was going to come up with, worked, I can at least be right there racing for the final spot.
Yeah, I was very interested waiting to see when the green flag pit stops, went on for you guys. But I mean, you and Brian P. Johnson, you guys had a lot of close calls, a lot of side by side fenders rubbing into each other. I mean, what are you looking forward to now? You locked yourself into the final 4. What race are you definitely looking forward to when it comes to Richmond and Homestead?
I actually love both tracks. I know Richmond was redone. I don't know if it was rescanned, but it was at least refreshed on iRacing. And maybe same thing with Homestead. Biggest thing I'm also looking forward to, I believe, no stage racing, final 2 races. So I love those type of races.
Yeah, it's going to be a straight race for everybody on the track. Should be an exciting thing to watch. And again, you did a fantastic job tonight. We're able to stay in front of the people you needed to stay in front of. And sure, no new winner for tonight, but still very close in points. But look forward to seeing. Congratulations on second place tonight. You got any shout outs? Floor is now yours.
Definitely my teammates, Ryan Kelly and Brian McCann. I hate that Brian had such a bad round in the playoffs, and Ryan just, if he can make the first 20 laps of a race, it'll be a miracle. And Kevin Hashbrown on top of the pit box. And shout out to my sponsors, Cody Glencock's Music, Port City Cards, and Muffin Sports Cards on Instagram, and Sim Precision Prints for your 3D printing needs. And big shout out to you guys as always.
Awesome, Larry. Well, thank you for joining up in the booth, and congratulations on your second place and locking yourself into the final 4. Look forward to seeing what you can do at Richmond and Homestead.
Thank you, sir.
All right, everybody. That was your second place finisher, Larry Yingling. Another himself into the final 4 for the next 2 races of the season. And we'll go back to our third place finisher, Douglas Newbigging. Douglas having a fantastic race, coming from the back, just kind of biding his time, finishing third, getting a podium for himself tonight. Douglas, it's Richard up in the booth. How you got me?
Hello, I got you. Hello.
Hey, Douglas, it's nice having you up in the booth, having a fantastic race today. You've had a lot of bad luck moments throughout the season. How does it feel to finally get up here and get in the podium again?
Pretty good, I definitely felt a couple of races during the playoffs that could have been up here, but kind of just, whether it be just bad luck or just stuff going always the wrong way, so it definitely felt like this race I honestly think I could have probably got up a little higher, but I just kind of got loose under Gavin with like 4 to go, and it just set me so far back there, I just couldn't do anything, so happy I got third at least. I mean, I was close coming in line with Gavin, so that was fun.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish between you two. And yeah, it just does seem if you get a little loose, the tires kind of slip away from you. But I mean, a third place finish, gotta feel good. You got 2 races left of the season. How you going to approach them? Just looking for a win or just looking to have fun?
A mix of both, I guess, just trying to maybe take it a little bit more easier on the final four guys, and then also just going for my own wins. Kind of same old strategy, just kind of stay out of wrecks. Kind of wasn't really fighting that much. I was trying to like save my tires the whole entire race, and every single time my tires would start coming in, then we get the caution out, just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, just probably just do that again. I don't know. As long as I'm not wrecking, I'm happy. So it's a step in the right direction at this rate.
Yeah, it's been really nice to see you finally, what we like to say, I guess, self-sabotage sometimes, but fantastic smooth race today. We got 2 races left of the season, Richmond, Homestead, and there's also no stage racing being these races. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
I'd probably say Homestead. I mean, I don't know how it drives now with the new setup and stuff, but I always like it there. You know, normal catfish down there. So I enjoy that one. I don't know how Dirty Air is going to really play at Richmond too. I'm kind of interested to see how that works. But yeah, should be fun.
Awesome. Well, Douglas, thank you for joining us up in the booth. Congratulations on 3rd place. The floor is now yours. Shout out. Anybody you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, sure. Shout out Tiltify. Go support charities on there. Lucky Duck Motorsports. VRS for sponsoring the series. Freaky Fast Broadcast for putting this on. You guys are always great. Love watching the broadcast back. Shout out to Cedric for his I feel so bad for him. He got messed up so many different ways this race. Yeah. Shout out to Lucky Duck Motorsports, obviously. Hopefully, this I don't think like we've been finishing races in the past like 2 races. We all just been getting wrecked. So maybe we're finally putting the luck back in the Lucky Duck name. We kind of been unlucky ducks the last couple times. So yeah. John Peel. Shout out to him, obviously team owners. So yeah, and shout out to the Final Four for making it. And hopefully they'll have a good little playoff races. I don't know, something like that. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Douglas, for joining us up here in the booth. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish and good luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll hopefully see you guys soon.
All right, thanks. And that was Douglas Newbigging, everybody, your 3rd place finisher for tonight. Our spotlight driver for tonight will be our 4th place finisher. Also, the number 75 of Gavin Rogers, also rounding out our final 4 drivers as well. Gavin, it's booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Gavin, a fantastic race tonight. You had a little scary moment there on one of the accidents trying to go through the grass, and then Samuel Garcia kind of cutting out in front of you. Didn't look like you got a lot of damage, but how'd you have to recover from that moment?
It really wasn't that bad. We were kind of lucky with a small field tonight, and I only had about 30, 40 seconds of optional, and I was already in the back at that point after the incident, so I just pit in, got all the damage done that first pit stop. I decided to not take tires just to save them for the end, just in case. Kind of wish I used them that last pit stop, but obviously I stayed out. I guess I thought that tires weren't going to be that big of a deal. I thought the Dirty Air was going to be a little bit stronger than tires, especially 2. I've seen a few guys took 2. John got by me pretty quick. I don't know if there's anything I could have done there. Maybe there was, just kind of unfortunate. Obviously, I made the championship 4. I'm pretty happy about that. But just kind of wish I got that win to build some momentum for the final 2 races.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see you get a win on the season to try to build some momentum. But again, you locked yourself into the final 4, and it was almost a close points race between you and Larry Yingling. I don't know if you knew or not, but if Brian P. Johnson got the win, you had to finish in front of Larry Yingling just to advance. If Larry would have finished in front of you, he would have advanced. Was that on your mind at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I had my buddy Nick join the Discord and was he was actually asking me if I wanted to know the situation. I said not right now, and I kind of figured he would have told me if it got to that point. Obviously Brian wrecked, which is pretty unfortunate for him. I feel pretty bad. He had a pretty good season. But no, I wasn't fully aware, but just glad everything kind of played out.
Yeah, well, into the final 4 yet again for yourself here in the VRS Cup Series. 2 races left on the season, and also not stage racing. It is a from green flag to checkered flag style race. Richmond and Homestead, how are you looking to attack each one of them?
Just do what I can to get ahead of Vincent and John. I know this no stage is definitely going to help Vincent definitely the most. He's been probably the best on long runs, and I'm sure the stage is definitely going to support
having more long runs these next 2 races. So definitely gonna have to find some speed in that aspect. I know they're gonna be really hard to beat. They also got good teammates backing them. I'm kind of a lone soldier going into this one, which is unfortunate, but I've done it before in other leagues. Obviously, this one is quite the competitive league, but hopefully we can pull something off.
Awesome. Well, again, another fantastic race for you tonight, Gavin. Looking forward to see what you can do in the final 2 races. To in the final 4, see if you can claim that title that has ever so eluded you the past 2 seasons. But the floor is now yours to open to any shout out to give.
Yeah, just want to give all glory to God. Want to shout out the whole family, all my friends and buddies watching. I want to shout out the Next Level Karting group for all their support. I want to shout out all the admins in this league for everything they've done. They've put such a great league together, and all you guys for doing a great broadcast for us. And let's go hopefully get that championship.
All right, Gavin. Well, again, congratulations tonight on a 4th place finish and getting yourself into the final 4. You have a good night, sir.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, that is Gavin Rogers, your 4th place finisher and spotlight driver of the evening. And Sam, that locks it in, our 4 drivers for the playoffs starting next week.
That it does. A wild end to their round of 8, but it was John Forbes Jr. sweeping both Legacy Kentucky and Auto Club to solidify himself as the driver to watch out for heading into this championship round. Now, that's just based off of recency runs. I think from a driver's point of view, Vincent Sora might be the odds-on favorite to watch out for in this championship. But let's first take a look at our unofficial results for tonight's race. Drivers bouncing all around, but it was a test of survival here tonight. John Forbes got up front, stayed up front, was one of our biggest movers of the race, up 21 spots from where he started. But Larry Yingling doing everything in his power to come away in 2nd. Douglas Newbigging in 3rd, with Gavin Rogers 4th. Joshua Kanata coming away with a top 5 finish in 5th, with Samuel S. Garcia 6th. 7th goes to Justin Malarkey. Manatsi Major was caught up in one of our early wrecks of the day, and the 82 survives for a top 10 finish. Cody Reed gets a top 10 finish in 9th, but Brian P. Johnson, the ultimate heartbreak, as he thought he was going to be able to make a heroic charge there late, but the contact between himself and John Forbes with 11 laps to go is what takes him away from making the final 4, but a top 10 finish for himself. But we look outside the top 10. I mean, Richard, this is so bizarre to see. Everyone outside the top 10 could have been our top 5 at the end of this race if they all survived.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you have back in 15th, Vincent Sora getting into a little issue with his teammate of John Forbes there, and he got the worst of it. He had some major damage and just was not able to finish the race. You had Zach Hall also, who had some pretty good pace, finishing back in 16th. Shane Terrian, who was fighting for a chance to get into the final 4, was probably the closest when it came to points of those guys under the line. An issue for him as well, getting involved in a massive wreck. So a lot of drivers further back past the 10th, 12th position that could have easily finished up in the top 5 and even potentially advanced into the final 4.
It was a crazy season that has now come down to this. A total of 49 drivers had earned points at some point this season. We cut it down to 16 that made it into the playoffs. We've been dwindling it to just now our final 4 that to get to race for a championship starting next week. John Forbes, Vincent Sora, Gavin Rogers, Larry Yingling. This is going to be a fun championship to watch. 3 of the 4 have won a championship in the past. Gavin Rogers is going for his first. And the history just, if you keep looking at the scenarios, the storylines, this is a peak top 4 drivers to watch out for, and I'm excited for it. But I know for us up at the booth, we've got plenty of other great racing action we're excited for as well. If you want to see Nashville Super Speedway and the Xfinity car, as we're slowly marching to the end of the regular season for the Trinity Racing League's inaugural season, you don't want to miss it Monday night. We are excited to give you that coverage, and then we're right back here. The start of the championship round, the final 4 drivers, their first test, Richmond, 200 laps, And like we've been saying during the interviews, no stage racing. That factor is gone. And I'm excited for it, Richard, because no stage racing, it matters on where you make it to the end. Survival is the key. And John Forbes has proven he can be there. Vincent Sora's proven it. It's now time for Larry Yingling, Gavin Rogers. How much fight is left in them for these final 2 races for a championship?
Yeah, I think the no stage racing is a big, awesome thing for these guys for these last 2 races to figure out who the champion is going to be in this playoffs this season. I mean, it's going to see who can be the long run driver. We're going to see, and the way these guys race, they're always racing each other. They're always around each other. So it's not like it's going to get spread out like we normally see. I believe we're going to see racing from green flag to checkered flag drop. So it's going to be an exciting track or race to watch. And Richmond always brings a great racing with these guys.
And it should be some great action that you do not want to miss out on. And if you want to make sure you're connected, remember to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to be notified when we are live or when we have videos be uploaded, remember to hit that bell notification button to be notified when we go live. Thank you so much to everyone that decided to spend their Wednesday evening with a spectacular show here at Auto Club. Once again, this track never gives us a boring race. It is always exciting. They're late. We want to say thank you again to everyone that joined with us this evening, from the drivers, those supporting, but for myself, Sam Dyer, for Richard Wolsifer, and for Robert Moyer Jr. and everyone else that helps out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you so much for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. We can't wait to be back here next week to see who has got the best momentum, who's set for the championship. It is 4 drivers hunting for the crown to be the Season 11 WSSR VRS Cup Series champion. John Forbes, Vincent Sora, Gavin Rogers, Larry Yingling. Their road is coming to an end here very quickly. It's Richmond, it's Homestead, and it all begins next week. But if you can't wait until then, don't worry, we've got more racing action Monday night. The Trinity Racing League heads to Music City. It's time for the drivers to test their skills on the concrete. The first one of the season, and we'll see you then Monday night, Trinity at Nashville Super Speedway. That will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.